Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast.
Coming to you out of SideQuest Studio and also two parts of Adelaide, this is the Simpsons Index, episode 191. Hello out there, I'm your host, Elliot J. O'Neill, and joining me in SideQuest Studios here as always, except when he's not, is BT Calloway.
Hoi hoi.
And joining us over from one segment of Adelaide, I don't really want to dox you more than just saying Adelaide. Anyway, it's Phil Harker-Smith.
Hello.
And out of Baby Beard Media HQ, I hope that's what you call your studios there.
Central.
We don't really have a name
We
for
call it the crib, thank you very much.
Yeah, much better. The baby beard crib.
Coming out of the crib.
And we're doing just fine.
It's Sean Flierl,
Hola.
Ellen Graham,
Hello.
and Christopher Bond.
Woo!
And thank you, our friends over at Baby Beard Media, for joining us today. And of course, this is the Simpsons Index, the podcast where we watch and review 3 episodes of The Simpsons at a time. But there is a twist. Each episode must come from a different different decade. Fuck. I've only been doing this 190 odd episodes.
You're losing your
That's
grip.
how we keep it fresh and live.
You know we're genuine because I keep fucking everything up. But yeah, longtime fans will be very aware of you guys. But for those that don't know, who the hell are you?
Oh,
Who the hell are you, man?
we're a collective of Adelaide podcasters and Let's Players, but we do an actual play podcast called Roll to Cast, ROLE, where we go through a different gaming system each season, and we play a season of that game, plus we have interviews with the creators. We also have a YouTube channel where we do a bunch of Let's Plays together as fun friends.
Where
and
we
sometimes
torture
without.
ourselves for your entertainment.
Yeah.
We're funny. We're on the internet. Google Baby Beard Media and follow links.
It's amazing how much this has changed because when I first had you guys on the podcast, you were just but a Futurama podcast and you guys have expanded your empire out into so many other places.
We're conquering.
You weren't a SideQuest studio when we met you either.
Yeah.
You changed.
That guy in the Airbnb that done invited us over.
That strange man whose house
what-
we're going to.
And what began as friendship shall end in a bitter, bitter rivalry.
We wouldn't have it any other way.
Exactly.
That's so sweet.
Well, no, thank you again for joining us. And yeah, once again, thank you guys for appearing in so many indexes over the last couple of years. We've absolutely loved having you on. And I'm so excited to do this very special run of episodes with you today. But before we get to the good stuff, let's get through the less good stuff. We just watched Season 30, Episode 11, Mad About the Toy. First released in 2019, directed by Rob Oliver, written by Michael Price. In this episode, Grandpa has a flashback trauma when he sees little army men toys, and it turns out he is the model of those toys, and he had some complicated history with the photographer of that modeling session. Hey, y'all, what did you think?
Mixed at best.
Yeah, this episode was just a bit stinky, wasn't it?
It's also a goddamn award-winning episode.
Really?
Oh, damn it, Sean, you jumped the gun. Okay, well, let's skip to, is that reputation justified?
Is that reputation justified? Thanks, Sean.
This won a fucking award.
Why?
Oh, God.
What award? Who gave it?
It won the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Animated Program.
This is the episode that they put forth for the season.
That's
Yeah.
homophobia right there.
Yeah.
I'm calling it out.
And
That's a hate crime of some description.
and please react as I tell you what this beat out that year in that category.
Oh, no.
It beat out Bob's Burgers, where
Fuck
Tina
off.
tries to join Boys for Now or something.
No.
Jesus.
It beat the Big Mouth Planned Parenthood episode, which astounding.
What?
This one I was originally offended by. It beat BoJack Horseman's Free Churro, and I'm like, that is an excellent episode. Maybe not like the best animation because it's fairly static, but this beat out the Adventure Time finale.
Ooh.
Wow.
Oh, okay. All right. Now there's blood in the water. Thanks, guys.
Oh my God.
Burley.
Chris
There's
is
burley
heads
in the
up.
water.
Wait,
I'm literally stamping my foot.
Yeah,
I'm so
yeah.
angry.
Adventure Time's over?
Okay. There were a lot of
Aw.
bombs dropped tonight.
That is incredible to me that Simpsons, first of all, regardless of the episode that it is still winning Emmys.
Remains relevant,
yep.
yeah.
Bribing people.
Yeah.
Bob's Burgers, Adventure Time, BoJack
Yeah.
Horseman, Big Mouth. What the
Fuck.
These are
There's
all
something so surreal about watching these like later episodes because I do not watch any of The Simpsons from this part until you basically invite us on and like, here's this episode. I'm like,
Force
okay,
us to.
what? And then knowing that we're going on to look at some episodes that I really like, it's like it's in the shape of your friend, but it's wearing their skin.
Yeah.
And doesn't
Has anyone
It's-
seen Midsummer?
Yes.
It's that
Yeah.
scene from
It's
Midsummer.
that scene from that.
Oh dear.
It's your childhood friend, but they've got a gun.
It's very unnerving because the characters are all in the same relationships to each other, but like it's such a slog to watch.
Yeah.
It's not creative. It's not inventive. Those are two of the
No.
same words. It isn't funny.
Can I, putting all of those contemporary shows around it, really? Because I always
Yeah.
think of the new Simpsons in a bubble, right? It's this awful thing that's kind of limping on. But it isn't. It exists in a cultural landscape where other art is being made, other animation
Yeah.
is being made. And to
It would
list
still
off all
be-
of those contemporaries
Yeah.
and be like, these are its contemporaries. And it could be drawing inspiration from any of them, and yet it still stagnates in the way that it does is... I don't know.
Well, think about
the
it. It would
worst?
still be in like those kind of like animation domination segments where you would watch Bob's Burgers and The Simpsons. It would still be there.
Yeah.
I guess it
There's
would.
just nothing subversive about it. Like in my notes, I've just written, haven't we done this before, but better?
Yeah,
like,
we have.
It's such a clunky episode as well. Not only in the
Yeah.
bad handling of any issues that it's trying to get across, but even how we get there, like how we progress to talking about homophobia. It's so unnecessary. It's just like whiplash every left, right, and center because it feels like a poor clip show of like better Simpsons episodes, but cobbled together in such a worse way.
Can you believe this is like a locations episode? Like it goes to New York
yeah.
and it goes to Texas?
Oh, yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
2 go-tos in one episode.
That's amazing.
Hence
Yeah.
the feeling of whiplash in this one.
Yes.
And I think Martha is like meant to be something significant, right?
Is it an actual place in
Yeah,
Texas?
that's what I wondered. Is it a
I
real
got to
place?
assume
Yeah.
all their assertions that it was like the art capital of Texas means
It is a-
it is.
I just did some Google foo. It is a tourist destination and a major center for minimalist art.
Right. Okay.
And the Martha lights that she mentioned are a
Yeah.
thing.
No, they're real.
Yeah.
Well,
That I know.
they're a thing here in Australia called the Min Min lights, which are mysterious lights that you see floating in the outback that are largely unexplained and said to be supernatural in origin. Ooh.
I got to say, my biggest takeaway from this episode so far was, man, the moment that Marge is trying to put Homer's jacket back on from the back,
Yeah.
holy
It
shit,
lost
that-
me.
Making
but
awkward
also,
sex noises.
But
Yeah.
that age,
Harder.
I was so aware of Marge's age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
Oh,
is
yeah.
straining.
Oh yeah, poor Julie Kavanaugh.
I was going to say her voice sounds so off.
She finally sounds like her mother, as in Marge's mother.
Oh,
Definitely.
Jacqueline
Yeah.
Bouvier.
Because Homer, like Dan Castellaneta, he hides it much better, but Marge just sounds like, Julie Carver just sounds like she's taken a fucking beating over the last 3 decades on her voice.
Oh, God. Well, she
Just
has.
straight to the vocal
It
cords.
doesn't sound like they're giving her water either.
No!
It's Hugh Jackman in Les Mis.
You don't come
Deliberately.
out of the box until you do your lines.
She actually does. She keeps refusing water. She wants to die.
Oh no.
Oh, God.
Just like
how I
me when
feel
I'm
about
watching
this
this episode.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, let's hook into the questionnaire proper and really get into why we're feeling this way about this episode. BT, we'll start with you. For better or worse, what's a moment that stands out to you?
Well, amongst all the other uncomfortableness, I'd like to say the line that Abe enjoyed killing strangers during the war was like, what? That's a lot to take on randomly for a sweet, doddering old man to have rejoiced in the death of others. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, just got to sit with that, don't you?
Yeah, no, I was going to add more, but just
They try to land a few jokes like that where you're just like, oh, that's a bit dark.
that's a dark place we just glimpsed briefly there.
But they don't work.
Yeah, on the plus side, it makes me think about the Iron Maiden song Afraid to Shoot Strangers, which is a good song.
That is a good song.
Nice.
On its face, it's not like a bad idea to give you like the bait and switch that you're gonna do.
Yeah, that you think it's
Like-
about
Like
his
actual
PTSD
military,
from the
yeah.
war, and it's actually about this other thing. Yeah, that's got something to it.
Yeah, but it doesn't really execute that like potential in a good way, I feel like. And it added PTSD to the growing list of things this episode fails to handle.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
like I said in my notes, didn't we do PTSD already with a Homer? Like,
at the well.
Yeah.
At the,
we did this
the
already.
quarry.
That's with Mr. Smithers' father, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's what we
Spoilers.
find out that Burns has raised Smithers since he was a baby, and therefore
Yeah.
their relationship is way creepier.
But we had that exact same thing where a thing stirs up an old repressed
Yeah.
memory. A Simpson man has to deal with his PTSD, and there's a little mystery around what actually happened.
Yep.
Why we need that in this episode is stupid. We don't. If it's meant to be about Abe in a moment of panic ruined a man's career, then why don't we just get to the meat of that? Because it is meaty and it shouldn't just be thrown aside, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's it. And like the episode kind of thinks it's so clever with that whole bait and switchness, but it isn't. And especially with moments like Lisa, like immediately figuring out that he was the model based on nothing is just,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so weak and tenuous
well,
at best.
she looked at it, I guess. It's not much.
How about you, Phil? What stands out to you from this episode for better or worse?
So I guess the part from me is we just touched on it. Like the storyline is that Grandpa thinks that he has ruined a man's career by outing him as being gay in the oldie times.
Yep.
But the twist is it was actually fine.
Yeah,
And-
that's something that really
and-
bugs me about this one.
The discrimination, so they just let themselves off the hook. And I think it's gross because for a lot of people it wasn't fine.
Yeah.
And the fact that they just write themselves out as like, oh, he just drove away and then it all worked out for him.
And was obsessed with Abe for the next 40, 50 years
Yeah.
or whatever.
He
Yeah.
drove away to Texas
Yeah.
in the
Yes.
40s.
Yep.
Yeah.
What
yeah.
the fuck?
And
Yeah.
As
Phil,
a gay outed man.
Yeah.
What?
And Phil, just on that as well, like something that this episode did that actually kind of reminded me of Amazon Women in the Mood is that whole thing of, oh, they're making the old bad jokes, but they're doing it through the character. So it's like, okay, that's a character, but they're still like spending a lot of time doing these very terrible, old, outdated jokes under
Yeah.
the guise that, it's through a character.
Yeah.
Does
It's
that make sense?
Zap Brannigan saying all
Yes.
this stuff,
Yeah.
so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It's still sexist and it's still horrible and it's still hard to watch. And yeah.
And there's no real understanding of where they're punching. When you do those jokes, generally you try and punch up, right? You punch at the
Yeah.
society that created that. You try and prove that they're the absurd ones. They're the morally abhorrent ones. But it's just a bit too easy for everyone. They all get let off the hook so simply. There's just no stakes here.
Just whack a lampshade on it, Ellen. It'll be fine. Just lampshade all of those jokes, and it's completely okay.
Yeah.
If it was
Yeah.
if this was about race, it just wouldn't fly.
Oh my god, can you imagine?
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
yeah.
I'm picturing it now. It's horrible.
Yeah. Stop.
How about you, Chris? What stands out to you from this episode for better or worse?
Oh, good. Believe it or not, it's none of the queer stuff. But no, it's the other thing, the mental health stuff.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Where they arrive at the veterans hospital, and Homer is being taken away. What a cool fucking contemporary depiction of mental health, and particularly of like suffering veterans who are notoriously like underfunded, and like they do visually sign that in the episode by having the hospital run down.
Yeah.
But like Homer's gibbering and jabbering, and they're like, yes, this is what bad mental health looks like. Like, maybe this is raw to me because I recently watched an interview of a guy who'd gone through PTSD, but like, man, oh man, this is like, I don't know. It's shite.
Yeah, I might jump in on that because that actually really scared me. I didn't like that scene at all as someone who's been pretty affected by different mental illnesses throughout their life. Like, because like someone with a defter hand could make a really good joke about that or could examine that. Sometimes the hardest part of ascertaining someone's mental health is that sometimes you can't necessarily trust them. So if you have someone who is reacting badly to being restrained, which is a totally rational thing, then how do you believe that they're, no longer in control of their faculties, right? It's a scary slope. And that's why a lot of people who, when admitted, can't then check themselves out because they're not believed to be mentally competent. It was frightening and upsetting, and I didn't like it. And it didn't even have a joke.
It was basically the shinning episode. If it was devoid of all its comedy scene. Like, Homer's done that sort of stuff before. I've laughed at that sort of stuff before. You can't put it in this context and do the same performance and make it funny. Like, it was just such a bad
They had that joke in Futurama when Fry is sent to the robot asylum. Because it was like, that is how, unfortunately, a lot of patients are treated, where they pump you full of certain chemicals, and once you're in, it's really, really hard to get out because you're conditioned to that kind of institution.
Yeah, but in the context there, it's robots and not
vets. It's a misdiagnosis as well.
Yeah.
But it's
anyway,
just, bad.
It was shite.
And can I jump in on that as well? When you say like, the Veterans Hospital is a bit run down, but also when he goes on TV, they make a joke at his expense where he's like, oh, I got all these things and this pension and these things and this loan.
Medicaid and Medicare and yada yada, and now it's my turn. It's like,
The Simpsons writers do have a weird streak with Social Security and things like that.
Unbelievable. It's like there are so many homeless veterans in America. Like, it is famously bad at looking after its service people. Like, how do you get away with making that joke? Like, everything in this is ham-fisted. Like, everything.
Yeah.
Sweaty old pieces of ham.
How about you, Ellen? What stands out to you from this episode?
I'll point out something maybe that was on the road to possibly working is a few of the gags around Monopoly.
Yeah.
So first of all, I loved the money one.
Same.
That made sense. I actually really loved all of the Homer marge, apart from the stuffing Homer into his jacket.
Yeah, but like the speed dating and the taking
speed dating,
jet skiing through the tunnel of love.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like seeing Homer and Marge in love and enjoying their company together. So that was really nice.
It's a sort of a take on that whole Apu doing a party in 5 minutes or whatever.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is I think a fresh sort of take on that. And yeah, I agree. It's lovely to see them being all lovey.
Yeah.
It was a good day as well.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Mini golf. Good choice.
A 5-minute motel. That's all you need if you're doing it right. But yeah, there was the joke that Abe made about Monopoly being, I'm quoting this, the last place you can still say Oriental. And you're like, okay, I can see how this is kind of, because it is somewhat at Abe's expense that he is portrayed as a doddering old out-of-time fool who is still harboring a lot of xenophobic
That's like the cusp
feelings.
of it, right? Like
Yeah,
if it stood there,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
be all right.
Yeah. And I feel like that is pretty much for me where I start to go, oh no. Oh dear. Oh gosh, we're following this kind of comedy, aren't we?
Hey, Ellen, that's
Yeah.
our protagonist.
Oh no, why couldn't it be Homer and Marge having a fun date? I would have much preferred that episode.
Same.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it for me. That was kind of like the epitome of this episode of like that bad joke and not quite knowing who's the target and who's the punching bag.
And you know what? I didn't actually mind a couple of the jokes that they had about the board games. Game of Life. I already lost, and
Already lost it.
Yeah.
That was great.
And I was just going to say the Monopoly money bit again of like, gives him $5, sir. This is Monopoly money. Gives him 100. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good one. I thought it was very silly and it reminded me of old Simpsons.
Yeah, no, it was a nice, quick joke, and yeah, good to see Raphael as always. But how about you, Sean? What stood out to you from this episode for better or worse?
Yeah, I think like a lot of the thematic foibles and missteps have been kind of addressed. But I might touch specifically on the crazy Homer being dragged out thing from a different perspective, and it's the problem that I have with just new Simpsons in general is just their inability to adhere to logic with their own jokes, especially the ones that they harbor onto for far too long, like taking into account the fact that it's like a 20-second gag where he's constantly being dragged out, and they've got Marge and Bart like right next to them, just not saying a word.
Bart
watching
lets it happen, but I don't believe that Marge would just let her husband be sectioned.
And it's just that thing that Simpsons does, which is that fucking references without a reason, jokes without a purpose. If you're going to have that joke, you can't have the family in the room. It's just lazy, and it's just there so we can do the
bit.
And additionally, yeah, I agree with you, Sean. Yeah, it's so weird that the family are just standing by while this is all happening, especially Marge. And then once Homer's done babbling gibberish for good 20 seconds. It's just, immediate cut to he's in the room watching Abe get diagnosed. And so, it didn't matter.
Yeah, how did he come back from that? Like, where's the logic of all of these
Exactly.
continuing gags?
They're
like,
just consequenceless.
Yeah,
That's
whereas
it.
like even the Monopoly thing, like it's silly logic, like it's clown logic, but it works where it's like, no, this is Monopoly money. Yeah, well, what if I upped that? Oh, okay. Now we're talking.
All that stuff tracks and it's fun. And also, like, as well, to jump back onto what's so great about Homer and Marge is one of the best things to see how they try and keep romance alive when they've got three fucking kids.
I've got, are you thinking what I'm thinking, B2?
Oh, I think I am B12.
The mortgage payment on time? Like that's part of their...
Yeah, basic competence.
Hey, nothing is hotter than fiscal responsibility.
I laughed and then I went, okay, you got me. Like, it was a good,
The same
sweet
energy
joke.
is like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, do your taxes. Yeah, that's right.
Well, on the opposite of taxes, we like to talk about the wackiness. What were some fun, wacky, animated, cartoony, or bad cartoony moments from this episode that stood out to you all?
I have a string of some good ones I liked. I kind of like Homer and Bart having a hot towel fight on first class.
Yep.
It was all right.
Yeah.
When they arrive in New York, everyone gets their own limo so they can stick their head out the top. It was like, okay, that kind of tickled me. And the bourbon vending machine back in the olden days where you could just get bourbon on every street corner, damn it.
My 2 is firstly Mayor de Blasio.
Playing himself in this episode.
It's
What?
actually him. So they got him to do it, which is fantastic. And the other one is I love that Abe gets airlifted to a better show. Because a bigger network, he was like, yeah, fuck it, we'll poach you. That's great.
So in that show as well, Lawrence O'Donnell was playing himself. I'm not familiar with this dude, and that last word, fucking back and forth, just irritated me.
Yeah, that seems
took
like a new-
so long. It's such a bad joke. I've got 2. I like the Jack in the Box model who keeps getting stuffed back inside. I think that would actually be a really funny clown turn, so I'm going to steal that for later. And
That's all right. No one's watched New Simpsons. No one could accuse you of lifting it.
Exactly. And the thermometer in the coffee, the pouring the mercury in the coffee.
mercury.
I didn't like that whole setup. I thought it was like bad, but her breaking open a thermometer into the coffee did get me as a physical
And
gag.
stirring it. Yeah.
And stirring it.
Yeah. The whole idea that it was okay that he abused her for years because she was poisoning him.
Because she's been slowly poisoning
was
him.
horrible.
Yeah.
It was one of those. Another thing was like, we're being dark. And it's like, no, you're just being gross.
Shit.
Also, you're not poisoning him fast enough. He's had a good, 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
Clearly she wants the slow road.
Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't mind the soldiers' animations. I thought the flashbacks, and I think if you'd done a whole episode or leaned more into them, there's something very valuable or something very good there. Reliving trauma as a toy soldier, I think, is a really interesting way of dealing with it. There's something that could have been mined there more. And the art itself and the final shots with the photographer's studio.
All the Abe paintings.
That looked great.
Yeah.
It wasn't, spent a lot of time on, but there were some nice artistic references and stuff like that. And I thought that was nice.
For me, the whole sequence wasn't the most amazing set of gags, but I do like Google and Alexa firing lasers at each other. I like that idea that if you put them both in the same house, they would fight.
Yeah.
I think that's really good.
They're like Siamese fighting fish.
Yeah, I think
Beta
there was.
fish?
I think.
Beta fish.
Yeah, I'll pay that. It's just the material was so weak and
Oh yeah, for sure. I think there's maybe a good concept for an episode in there about how we give over organization and time and stuff to these devices, and there's a contemporary issue about how much they listen to us, and I can imagine gags with that being a literal person listening to them.
Yep.
on
Oh,
the other end.
they also did that, and they had Pierce Brosnan guest star in it.
Oh, right, so they've already done that. They've already done it. Okay,
Ahead
great.
of their time. Wow, Simpsons did
But
it.
no, I mean, you update it from smart home to smart
Smartphone.
box. Ooh.
Ooh.
We do actually come into this with New Simpsons where it does feel like they burn about 5 or 6 good story or decent story ideas in an episode where they've kind of disjointed. Albeit this one held it together a bit more, that it wasn't really wacky in that sense.
Yeah.
It's just stuff they've already done. It's just, I couldn't think of a new innovative thing about this episode.
Yeah, well, until you mentioned it, Phil, I'm like, oh yeah, they did go to both New York and Texas, and it my notes for when they were in New York consist of about 4 things that happened. It's just they moved on from it so quickly.
Yeah, they didn't really need to do we go to a place for that. part.
Not really.
No, it would have made more sense for that guy to be in Springfield. Also, just talking about Texas, the open carry joke, I also find pretty abhorrent. Like Bart saying he's always wanted to go to Texas because it's open carry, and then he just puts his like
Slingshot
in his pocket. I'm just like, that's
Fun
bad.
fact, slingshots are actually pretty deadly weapons.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Have you
Yeah.
heard of a story called David and Goliath? I think he just chucked
It's from a little known book called The Bible.
The other thing I had
Interesting. Tell me
was
more.
the review of like the dangerous toys when there's like walking through there's like a panning shot of all the different toys being tested. And there's one like sort of darts go up in the air and they just sort of land in the researcher.
Yeah.
and he just kind of
The-
just
the
lays
lawn-
to his knees.
Oh, yeah.
He just sort of
died.
sags.
He
The good old
died.
lawn darts, which were just giant needles they let children play with.
The way he sags is a nice bit of animation. Where he's just like,
Yes.
oh dear.
Expressionless face
Yeah.
and just drops.
In a way that, he's not dead, but he is dying.
Well, look, I mean, it seems like the wackiness side of it is actually bringing out some positives, but what about the emotional core of this episode? How's the heart?
I felt so touched by the whole episode.
Like a
And-
fist to you? Or
Wait
Yeah,
for it.
like a mercury stick to the face.
so touched in a bad way is what you're saying.
There's literally none. Besides some of the opening stuff with Homer and Marge and getting to watch them go on their little date and trying to force that romance through a 5-minute hole.
Ew.
And I'm keeping that phrasing in there.
There was a line of Abe's I thought was like broaching what I think someone originally had in mind for this episode, which was I've learned that a man can love different things and still be a man. It's the closest this gets to heart for me.
It
Yes.
Yeah.
feels so easy, though.
Yeah, exactly. It's the best light I can shine on this episode is someone had a genuine intent at some point, and it got very lost along the way, and who knows where exactly in production that had that. But I want to at least believe someone was genuinely trying at some point. And
That's
it did
clearly
work
what they
out.
want the message to be,
Yeah.
but Abe very clearly doesn't learn that lesson.
Yeah, and the trouble is they also undermine it a bunch with a bunch of just wacky, weird jokes that just ruin those kind of moments, like when Abe kisses the art guy and then Bart's just standing there as it gets that shocked expression. It's like, you were trying to have a moment here and it wasn't a great one, but you also then just dug under it again.
Yeah,
That's-
Bart
Alamo.
sucks in this episode because of those things.
I have exactly those notes. The kiss is great. Bart undercuts it. Like
Yeah, and
that
it's like-
beat for beat.
Yeah.
And you can't have a genuine attempt at heart and then ruin it like that.
No, because the show is taken as a whole. Like the message of the show is taken as a
exactly.
whole.
It's also just, there's no heart because nothing means anything.
There were no consequences.
No, and I also don't understand why this photographer fell in love. There was no reason for him to harbor such deep feelings for Abe that he obsessed
Yeah.
about him for his entire
Yeah.
life. So it's
Yeah.
like the love for him isn't earned. Abe forgiving him or, being forgiven by him isn't earned because apparently there's nothing to forgive. It's just shallow.
It's
a
just
real
because Abe.
shallow.
It's just because Abe said a line to him that made him think that he was coming onto him, and that was
Yeah.
it. That was apparently the impetus for the entire thing.
I also this could take the episode in a completely dark, murky territory, and we've seen how much they've failed in telling this story, so I wouldn't recommend it. But there is something frightening about being kissed by someone that you don't want to be kissed by who hasn't asked you. Do you know what I mean? I did have that thought when Abe was kissed. It's happened to me a few times, and it's unpleasant. But it wasn't even about that.
no, of course not.
No, because gay men don't express themselves with words. They express themselves with kissing you on the mouth in the 40s.
Isn't that just
to a-
men in the 40s in general?
I mean, they do have a callback to the famous post-World War II photo of Abe kissing a nurse and then she punches
That's
him
true.
out of that
Yeah.
photo,
That's
which,
true.
if you know the history of that photo, she
It's
did not
bad,
want that
bad,
to
bad.
happen.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
But there could have been an interesting commentary there where it was,
Well, that's kind of what I meant when I said I feel like there was once upon a time a core of this, because I like the idea that Abe has basically trauma of the idea that he's ruined someone's life, and back then it was acceptable, but over time he's going to be like, oh shit, I didn't even really think about that. It's kind of just been buried somewhere. It didn't end up working, but the idea was something.
Yeah, I mean, to script doctor it, you've got to have there be consequences. You've got to have harmed him in some way. And sure, he can have fought back from that and be like, well, actually, I don't, it's nice of you to come, but you know, I've moved on from it. I had to forge a path. Maybe he's an activist or something, you know? Have it mean something, not just have him just go, oh, don't worry, it didn't matter to me.
And that'd probably give the art some purpose and drive as well. Because the other thing that kind of bothers me is, like, I'd be very confronted in this situation to then see an entire gallery full of art of me, you know? It would, Grandpa doesn't think anything of it.
Yeah, don't go into our spare room then.
Why?
No, and again, that could be explained away pretty easily. If this was just, you know, if the statue of Abe out front was just a reproduction of one work and he goes into his studio and there's actually a bunch of different works throughout his entire career and that was just when he was an army man photographer, that's a way to explain away why that's what that's doing there, but no.
And also playing Philip Heflin in this episode was Brian Batt, who some of you might know, who played Salvatore in Mad Men.
And who is an openly gay man.
Yes, he is an openly gay man.
Okay, I was going to say, because I
cast correctly.
Get a bit of a flashback to the episode of Mad Men with him in it, where he does get fired because one of the clients makes a move on him, he rejects him, and then the other guy says, "Oh, he made a move on me," and he's just fired immediately.
Yeah,
which, you know,
I feel like this could have worked better had it been maybe like an old army buddy of Abe's, because I feel like for Abe to feel so threatened that there must have been a closeness there, or like, do you know what I mean? Like it would have worked better for me if Abe is our central character, then the conflict is happening with him, within him, that this is a thing that he's got to triumph his own freaking bias.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to just have some nuance. Where's
Well,
the fucking
trouble
nuance?
is that you're lumping trauma and bias in together, and they're not the same thing.
No.
And you don't resolve your biases by resolving your trauma, right? You don't suddenly become an ally for queer spaces when, I don't know, if a gay man has hit on you in the past and you reacted badly to it. You resolve that and suddenly you're okay with queer people. That's not how that happens. But also, like, BT and Elliot, you might be able to answer this. All the way through the episode, Grandpa is like talking about his war stuff as if he's a coward. Is that a revelation that's happened in like new episodes or something? He always talks about how he runs away from battles. I always thought the implication was that
He was a hard ass.
yeah, Grandpa was like a badass.
Yeah, well, he was in
commando,
the
right?
Hellfish.
Yeah, he was in the Flying
Flying
Hellfish.
Hellfish.
In this episode, he's always talking about like how he's running away from battles. Like there's a few jokes about it.
it's varied across the years. You know, he's done the bit where he pretended to be in the cabaret show during World War II,
Oh,
but he's
yeah.
also taken sniper shots at Hitler, so, you know, it's varied.
And also, like, my main issue is that as soon as they introduced because he even says it, the gay panic aspect of the show, as soon as they introduce that, I'm immediately on edge because I don't trust The Simpsons to handle this in any way
Yes.
correctly. So I'm waiting to see how bad it's going to get. So I can't enjoy it entirely anyway because I'm going...
Yeah.
It's like giving a monkey a grenade.
Yeah, it's much worse to bring it up and then both handle it poorly, but then also just not do anything with it. Like he says gay panic and that's it. I mean, we have a knowledge of what that is, but that wording specifically is something that's so harmful.
Exactly. I was just going to say this, Ellen. Like, they don't seem to understand what that phrase specifically means.
No.
Because
And it's
the gay panic defense is what people have put up to justify killing people who have come onto them and won and got off. And such laws people have had to fight very recently in Australia to have those removed from the books. Even recently.
Yeah.
You know?
It's not something to be thrown around lightly. And if you want to explore that story, but you want to kind of tread around it, then don't use terminology that's so bad. You know, sometimes it's better to not depict stuff if you are not like satisfied that you're going to handle it properly.
Right.
Yeah,
See?
what the sad thing about it is that, like, you could be told the episode's plot description, be like, oh, I don't trust modern Simpsons to deal with this.
No.
But, like, when we reviewed Homer's Phobia, we're like, a lot of this holds up surprisingly well. Like, there are some icky moments. Of course, it was a show about a homosexual in the 90s. Of course, they're not going to get some things right, but, like...
Is that the Zap Zap episode?
Yeah, that's
With
the
John
one.
Waters?
Yeah, the one with John Waters, and we reviewed that one on the Simpsons Index. I was along with
Like
that, and that was great. Like and subscribe, and go back to view that episode, and then subscribe to Baby Bin Media. But it was a great episode to talk about as a queer man, and to talk about this one as well and compare them. 20 years ago, they did a better episode about gay men.
And
Yep.
Homer is very visibly, like the whole thing for him from my memory of that episode is he's very clearly worried about his son turning gay. Is that awful? Yes. But they address it.
Yes.
And they actually resolve it.
Yes, because that episode had John Waters consult.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I doubt that this episode had a gay man consult or write it. And I am willing to stand to be wrong, but I doubt that they, even if they are a gay man, I doubt they spend a lot of time in queer circles because honestly, like, this is borderline homophobic kind of episode. I gotta be honest.
The writer of this episode was Michael Price, the co-creator of F is for Family, Bill Burr's animated vehicle.
You know what? That explains a lot. Unfortunately.
It's like you just spoke a different language.
I was about to say, I know that show you're referencing, but I've never seen it, so that was all
I don't
just
mind F is for Family for other reasons. I think it's a well put together show, but it's certainly not progressive. And Bill Burr certainly isn't.
No, he is
so,
not.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
This is a very straight man's perception of gay men.
But ultimately, does this feel like an episode of The Simpsons? Like, we just answered that, didn't we?
Yeah.
I'll make it short. No.
Yeah. Sean speaks for all of us.
Well, yeah, that's about it with the integrity. So let's try and do a speed round of what we'd like to change about this episode. BT, we'll start with you.
Right. I think, again, I feel like there's a core of something here, but, get someone in who knows what they're talking about to consult on this. Particularly, for a moment, there's like a glimpse of something interesting where Abe has the line of, I'm going to go confront my greatest fear, someone who only has love for me. And it's like, given your response to like Mona and your own son, yeah, that is a deep, dark well of Abe that, if explored properly, could be a stunning episode. It would not be easy, especially not in a comedy, but hey, there's something to explore there.
Yeah. How about you, Sean? What would you like to change?
Oh, God, I just wouldn't touch the episode, to be perfectly honest. Fuck it, hard pivot. Make it about corporate greed and how Grandpa's trying to fight to get this money that he was owed. Because I feel like you've got a better chance of being able to kind of represent that episode fairly. And at least you're punching up at corporations rather than trying to handle material that you really have proven you can't do anymore.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And there's a decent misdirect in you think he has PTSD, but it's only the knowledge he was never paid.
And I like that misdirect, that it was like, because you think that Grandpa is going to be about war, and it's not. He was photographed. Like that stuff, cool, awesome. At least I feel like I wouldn't have that concern of where you're going with it. I can feel a bit safer with the episode.
How about you, Ellen?
Look, just throw the whole thing in the bin. I wouldn't mind just like starting completely new, not carrying over anything from this episode. I wouldn't mind seeing a nuanced exploration of maybe Abe's army days and particularly like how that relates to his deep relationships with other men, because obviously that was a time that it was life or death, and you had forged these really close, strong bonds. And I don't know, I think there could be something really worth exploring there with a deft hand, with nuance. If you need to discuss an issue, get people who, have lived in experiences, are from that community, and get them into the episode. I would keep, however, Marge's forest green dress and mauve lipstick. Fashion corner wink.
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 How about you, Chris? What would you like to change?
There's 2 episodes here that I think you could make. You could make a PTSD mental health veterans episode where Grandpa is playing with toy soldiers and it's kind of half in his head, half in real life, where he battles out the demons of mental health while also struggling with America's damaged mental health system for veterans. But that's an episode. Or you deal with an aging man confronting his sexuality. Maybe instead of it being a traumatic experience, it's a moment of exploration. Abe goes to find someone who kissed him. He reacted badly to, didn't out him or anything like that, but goes out and says, maybe this is for me. Resolves either way,
like
him as a straight man or as a queer man, either way.
Like Beginners with Christopher Plummer. Rip Christopher Plummer.
It's been done
Great
before.
film.
Steal films.
And Phil, what about you? What would you like to change?
These will depend on how much we're going to keep. So, like, if we are going to go so far as to keep this interaction happening with this person from Abe's past and see what's happened to him in the interim, let's look at the actual experience of gay men in America over that intervening time, about the struggle they've had to gone through and the sometimes kind of less publicized struggle for recognition and rights. Obviously, the racial history in America is pretty charged, but so is the history around discrimination to do with people's sexual orientation as well. So why not, instead of him just being fine and happy because he's going to live his truth, but how easy is that? have it actually be about the consequences of these attitudes and what they've had, the impact they've had over the years. And then you could involve the younger generation of Simpsons a little bit more. For the Simpson kids, it's not such a big deal for them. And they can help teach the elder Simpsons to see the issues more clearly and from other people's point of view, perhaps.
Yeah, because that's what I hate about Bart in this episode, because, he's making the gay jokes, and it's just like, that wasn't him in Homer's Phobia either.
No.
Like, he was very accepting in that. And
He makes just a straight up "you're gay" haha joke.
Yes.
In 2019.
Yeah, and I'm like, that doesn't seem like a Bart thing for a boy who is very confident in his own masculinity, enough that he's a killer in pumps.
So yeah, I would involve the whole family, not just Abe. He's not a great character to center the whole episode around, to be honest.
No, that's right. And another thing I'd change, and it also leads into musical moments. There are just too many songs in this episode. Like, Grandpa gets that little song as he's singing in Texas, and there's no real jokes there.
Oh, yeah. Was that meant to be something?
Parody of some shit.
Thank you, Elliot.
It didn't land, whatever it was.
Starts with Homer singing a parody of the Married with Children theme.
Yeah, that's right.
I like the joke of the sprinklers on their lawn doing it. That was fine, but then I didn't need Homer singing it.
It just went on too long, and there weren't any actual jokes there. And the Stars of Texas montage, and then the episode also closes out with another song. But the one musical moment that I did love, we got a little bit, twice, we got a little bit of Blue Rondo a la Turk by Dave Brubeck. Yep, their song's in 9/8. It's a wonderful little time signature.
I could not play it in high school, and we only tried it once because we were so shit at it.
It's a motherfucking account. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 1 1 1 3. Anyway, music nerd corner over. All right, we are almost at the end, but now I need to ask: has anybody got any final notes? BT, we'll start with you.
You know I do. Let's see.
Well, maybe we'll start with other people then. How about you, Alan? Do you have any other final notes?
I already snuck in fashion corner, but
Wink.
Wink. Dufflinks gave me a little bit of
Dufflinks was nice.
A chuckle. Oh yeah, the just drive straight. I was like, that works as an Australian joke too. That was all. I was just like, yeah, we just drive fucking straight for like 12 hours and we're still in Australia.
Yeah.
There you go.
How about you, Chris? Any other notes?
I thought the dress opening was quite nice, like just Homer doing up Marge's dress. That was a sweet moment. Could we just have more of that, please?
And that mauve lipstick.
But the follow-up with Marge doing up his suit and going harder. Come on.
Not a fan of that.
No,
Weirdly.
didn't like it.
Don't know why. The DEF CON scene was quite nice. The DEF CON hearing aid transition was very clever.
I get it
was
now.
very smart. The radio.
Oh, God, the
A was
Giza
watching.
station?
Yeah.
No, Giza channel.
I quite liked that as
Yeah.
well.
Oh, I fucking hated that. That was so long and
really?
drawn out.
Yeah, I did write down the old watching characters be bored is boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. I quite liked its open. I think it maybe outstayed its welcome towards the end, but I liked the premise.
Premise is good.
Watching a radio.
And my wife took it well. I didn't mind that.
Oh, yeah, her running immediately next door to her lover.
Tonally and, inconsistent, but it's, a quick cut in terms of a joke. It's fine. And the final soldiers dancing scene, had you created an entire episode out of that, that would hit really strongly. Like that one I pitched earlier.
Yeah, if they'd been Abe's subconscious the whole way through, then that'd be something.
Yeah. Yeah. Other than that,
How about you, Phil? Any other notes?
I quite liked the quick thinking of Bart to swallow the batteries on the remote.
Jesus
just
Christ.
in case. Just in case he managed to turn the TV back on.
Yeah, it's fine. It's something Bart would do, and I cringed at the thought of swallowing batteries whole like a fucking pelican. Yeah.
and I love that the TIE Flyer is still going. That's just the thing I like.
Oh, yeah. Well, that'll keep going forever.
It's in the backdrop.
Yeah.
The picture backdrop
Yeah.
behind Abe, yeah.
It's
you
like
go.
Silent Hill.
All right, BT, how about now? Have you got any other notes?
You know I do. Abe says he lay there in a puddle of his own dishonorable discharge.
Yeah.
I got it.
Didn't mind that.
Gross.
Yep. There's a bit where they're talking about how good the photographer is, and he says, he's the best war photographer we ever had. And there's like him taking a glamour shot of a woman. It kind of zooms out. It's on the D-Day landing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was
It's an okay
yeah.
side gag.
Yep.
Yeah.
It works.
They refer to Texas as the reluctant home of Ted Cruz.
Yes,
I
they do.
enjoyed that.
And that is actually all of them. So,
Yep.
yep.
All right.
Oh, wait,
Oh,
no.
I also like Homer stealing a little M&M guy as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, an N and N.
N and N.
An N and N.
Yeah,
I didn't even...
one of the workers in costume as a big N and N, and that's what he's got under his.
I didn't
yeah.
even see that.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Also known as Narshall Nathers. Sorry, BT.
Oh, yeah. Just, are you proud of yourself?
Yes.
Yeah, just the end where mixed feels on this joke of Nelson, Milhouse, and Bart playing army men, but it's far too real because they're all like, oh, should we build a church to make them forget about that school we bombed? I don't know. And the army didn't send us enough body armor. It's like, concepts, but yeah, a little too
It's just
real to
kids
end.
playing COD.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was such a weird button for the episode to end on. Like, yeah.
Very
Yeah,
depressing.
that also made me feel like, they didn't have enough material for this
Yeah.
episode, which is
Absolutely.
embarrassing. Yeah.
My only other note was Abe had the line, I don't know whether he's going to punch me in the kisser or kiss me in the puncher. What is a puncher?
I mean, in
Your
theory, it's
fist.
your fist.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
No, it just
Yeah.
wordplay.
I mean,
Yeah.
it would have made sense if it was a pucker. Kiss
Yeah.
me in the pucker. That
But
would
it-
have made
but
sense.
it-
That
but
would have
it
been
But it
fine.
wasn't.
Well-
So
A Simpsons HD episode already did this joke as well, where I think it's Selma that says, yeah, I don't know if you're going to knock me in the kisser or kiss me in the knockers or something like that.
Well,
That works.
That's
better.
actually
And that
works.
works.
That's a
'cause
brilliant joke.
Knockers are a thing. I don't know what a puncher
And
is.
it's a funny word.
Yeah.
Good on
Yeah.
you, Selma.
maybe
Mm.
a puncher might be a lad's.
It can't be your
Implement.
dick.
Could
it
be.
can't be. No.
I've owned one my entire life. I've never
Well, that's-
referred to it as my puncher.
Yeah, you
Neither have I.
shouldn't. You shouldn't either.
No.
Don't start
My
now.
puncher.
Depends what you're punching.
You shouldn't be punching anything with your dick.
Dropped my drawers and pulled out the puncher.
That was a gay sex joke. But,
It is time to rank this thing.
I just thought of the term hole punch and it got worse.
Dear God.
yeah, ass puncher.
On the Simpsons Index, we rank using our 6-point scale, which starts down the bottom at failure. Maybe if the episode was just meh, you give it participant. But for the good rankings, you go okay bronze, good silver, excellent gold, but for the best of the very best, you give cubic zirconia. I'll go first. Let me show you how it's done. Look, I'm tempted by failure because of how badly this episode handles some things, but like an okayish first act is bringing me up on it, and like, so I'm going participant is what I'm saying. Phil, what would you like to go?
This is a failure for me. There were just a couple of things in this episode that just... The one I first talked about, the one that triggered the rant, the justified rant from Chris, where there literally is no consequence for him being outed as a gay man. I think that is just a gross whitewashing of history, given how much people have suffered historically just through no choice of their own, nothing they could help. And for me, that the episode can't recover from that, and that's why it's a failure.
And Chris?
It's a failure for me. I think it handles two things quite poorly: mental health and being gay in America. Had it done one of those things and handled it poorly, this might be a participant, because there's some stuff and some ideas in here that I think could track. And I think at the heart of it, there's something that it wants to tell, but it executes poorly. I think probably from producer meddling or just someone who hasn't lived a gay experience.
Ellen?
Yeah, failure for me. Not only is this episode like not a good story, it doesn't do anything super creative or innovative. The issues, the way that it handles, the really serious issues like PTSD, mental health, homophobia, it handles it in such a bad way that I think it could be really actively harmful to people watching. So bad.
BT?
All right, so those of you who are paying attention at the beginning said I was mixed at best on this one, and I've gone through a bit of a journey on this entire thing. It's been an interesting ride, because I came in on about a participant, because while I feel like it didn't handle it well, I think its core idea was at least interesting and an attempt at some kind of representation, even though they didn't do well with it. However, I kind of only noticed maybe a half hour ago, because this record is going overtime, that something in that ending really kind of bugged me, and then I kind of figured it out, and it's continued to piss me off, is that I've been trying to figure out how to put this together in words that are human.
Just screams into the mic.
So what's the guy's name again? The photographer?
Philip Heflin.
Yeah, so he has his whole, that was the best day of my life, because when I got fired, I decided from now on, I'd always live my truth from now on, which in subtext implies that any kind of oppression he suffered was his own fault because he wasn't out and proud. And that kind of, and as soon as I realized that, I don't think it's intentional, I think it's just an accidental subtext. but it not only removes the pressure from Abe, because no, he had a fantastic life, it kind of then puts the blame on him. I don't think it was intentional at all, but the fact that this episode didn't think to write a better, more meaningful ending, and that it ignored that little kind of bit there, just annoyed me just enough to tilt it into the pit of failure.
Sean.
Yeah, everyone said everything, but basically I just think it's this sort of episode and these sort of themes and ideas that after 30 years, Simpsons just can't touch anymore. They just can't. They don't. I just do not believe that they have the ability, expertise, and kind of wherewithal to juggle this sort of episode deftly. I just don't think they can and they shouldn't. So failure.
Yeah, you guys have convinced me. I said at the start that I was flirting with failure, and I'm just like, yeah, this episode's a fucking bummer.
All right, guys, way to lay on the peer pressure. Woo!
Join us in the pit.
Join us.
Also, that's an amazing name for your autobiography, Flirting with Failure.
I thought you were going to say join us in the pit.
That's also
Both
good.
are good.
I thought
It's the follow-up.
it was just going to be shiny failure, but you know.
Yeah, well, that will make this one a unanimous failure. We are giving this episode the Index Finger.
Yay.
It'll be the 4th episode from season 30 to be called a unanimous failure. It'll be joining Bart's Not Dead, where Gal Gadot auditions for Bart's Christian movie
Yeah,
about him.
that was a weird mess.
Really glad you
with
didn't
that
get us
plot
on for that
synopsis?
one. Thank you.
Bart's Christian? No, I'm not even going to unpack that.
No,
Yeah, it's
no.
a lot. And 'tis the 30th season where the Simpsons have Christmas in Florida and it's boring and shit. And I Want You, She's So Heavy, where Homer breaks his back lifting Marge up the stairs and they blame Marge for being fat.
That is not the crux of the episode. You
That
keep
is
doing that.
absolutely what it
is not. It's still bad, and I still failed it, but you're misrepresenting
Some
the failure.
controversy within the Simpsons Index.
Dr. Hibbert and Homer blame Marge's weight for that happening.
Yeah, for 1 second. It's not what the episode is about.
I feel like we're getting slightly off topic, boys.
Yeah, like we haven't been doing that.
Yeah,
I know,
true.
but I'm steering it home.
All right, everybody. Let's move on to the next episode, and I am blanking on the name of it right now because I don't have my fucking sheet in front of me, so... Mystery! We'll find out when we return after this little musical interlude.
See you then.
Knockers.
And we are back, and we just watched a Teens Era episode, and this was Season 19, Episode 17, right at the end of the Teens Era, Apocalypse Cow. First released in April of '08, it was directed by Nancy Kruse, written by Jeff Westbrook. In this episode, Bart meets a cow that he really likes, and when he tries to get it to safety, he puts it on Cletus's farm, which is interpreted as a marriage proposal to his daughter, Mary Spuckler. And chaos ensues. Hey, all, what did you think?
Sweet Jesus.
Sweet Jesus.
I think I didn't have too bad of a time. I came downstairs and Chris and Phil were watching it. It's just like, it's really telling when just no sound happens when you're watching a TV show. It'd be different
It's
if you
my
were-
second time
Yeah.
watching it. So.
Yeah.
Not
Oh,
even the
okay.
crickets are making sound.
Why would you watch it twice?
I've seen it twice.
Well, I watched it at home, and then Chris was halfway through when I got here. So,
Right.
But I actually, look,
didn't
it had
have too
jokes
bad.
in it. I had
Yeah.
a much better time than last time because there was some amusing
I will
bits.
say this was. I see the logic behind this show where you drag us through the mud and then you give us like a nice little cake at the
Yeah,
end.
that's right. What about you guys?
Gotta earn that cake.
I had an all right time. I didn't mind it. It was a TV show that had jokes in it. I laughed, and there was some animation, and it was really nice seeing the old intro, not that shitty
Yeah.
new one.
Yeah.
It's got extra frames in it.
That was
and
nice.
creativity, rather than that new fucking shitty one.
It's so weird because Chris was just positive there for like, I don't know, like 10 seconds
I
without
know.
breaking.
I needed to
It
course,
was-
had to balance.
we
I
were
needed
all-
to course correct on
We
that.
were all waiting.
What about you, Sean?
I fucking hated it.
Oh, really?
So
Same.
viscerally. I know we'll get into this, but the first couple of minutes I was like, oh, this could be quite nice. And then I just hated it more and more. And I almost dislike it more than last week's.
Ooh.
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
Is
That's
it
a big
because-
call.
Is that because of the issues in the episode?
It is because
because that's the
even-
bit I didn't like
Yeah,
about it.
same.
you know what it is? It's that last week, even though there's a lot of shitty themes and a lot of and the way they address it, it feels like at least they're following a straight line, whereas this just feels like it's trying to grasp onto too many things and it wants, like, last week's episode, or 20 minutes ago, is that it was saying shitty stuff, but at least it focused on the one shitty thing that it was focusing on, whereas this one just felt like it was trying to be too many things. Yeah, I just found myself thoroughly disappointed in it because it had more legs
I thought
than
this
last
one
week did.
got worse as it went
Yeah.
along. Like,
Cows
which is
have 2
weird
more
because... Pardon?
Sorry, I made a stupid joke. It has more legs because a cow has 4 legs.
Hey.
Hey.
All right, well, let's hook into the questionnaire and we'll work out our feelings on this one, this very polarizing episode. BT, we'll start with you. For better or worse, what's a moment that stands out to you?
Well, I feel like you're going to know my answer to this because I started yelling it at the screen. However, as a professional forklift driver for the past 12 years, holding a license for all that time and had not a single infraction, I can tell you that Bart's forklift operation is garbage. He doesn't perform a
He's
pre-inspection. I don't care. If he's learned to drive that forklift, he shows it the proper respect. He needs a proper pre-start inspection. He needs to wear a safety vest. He needs to put his seatbelt on. And then when he's carrying the cow, he has the forks all the way halfway up the mast. That forklift is going to tip and hurt that child. This is nonsense. That is the wackiest bullshit I've seen on this show. That's my note.
He has stormed out of the room.
There's no way that anyone has ever approached this episode from that angle.
Yeah,
So
that
I was gonna
perspective,
say,
yeah.
I was gonna talk about some issues in this episode, but not that one.
Yeah,
I
that's right.
deeply appreciate the fact that you said it as it was a mast. I've never heard that before. I'm fucking
Look,
learning
we're
shit on this
learning.
podcast.
And you know what?
I love
Bart
it.
needs to know those terms. Mast, lift assembly, back, load rest. These are all important factors of forklift operation. I guarantee you he does not know.
The 4H Club has let him down.
You called it a forklift operators would know this, right? Don't you guys
Yeah.
have like a cool nickname?
No, we're focused on the
Forkies.
job.
What do you mean, like forkies?
Forkies or truckers, you know
Stay
what
away
I'm
from
talking
them
about,
forkies.
right?
They're a bad crowd.
Cutlery.
Oh, I prefer to be a spoonie.
The Forkwits?
I mean, that's a good
Forkwits.
pun. I'll take it. But
The mother forkers.
Yeah.
Hey.
look, I was
don't
young
know.
and reckless once. I did fork stunt driving. I can pick up a 20-cent piece with the forklift. There's a trick to
Nice.
it. I can do it. However, that's behind me. And
I'm
I
a
would like to say,
podcast
I would
fan.
like to see
Reckless days.
a story of safety being preached here. Is what all I'm saying.
Well, ranking as a failure on the OH&S index.
Oh my! Yes. He would have lost his license on the spot.
How about you, Ellen? What stands out to you for better or worse?
Look, there was some jokes that I liked in this episode, but there's a bit where Bart goes to Martin, "What's a tool like you doing on something like that?" But I don't understand why he didn't say, "What's a tool like you doing on a tool like that?"
Yeah.
Total missed opportunity.
Tool
Bart,
like that,
you-
doing something on cool like that. I think he
Yeah.
went for
Yeah.
the rhyme instead of the
No,
insult. Yeah.
you go like because it's funny because it's tool, but you're
Yeah.
using it in
But
both
different
contexts.
meanings.
It's
I
go-
absolutely
yeah.
thought the same thing.
Missed opportunity. I can't believe I had to point that out.
Bad on a forklift and bad on
Yeah.
wordplay.
But otherwise, you were saying you were quite favourable on the episode, Ellen.
Yeah, there were some other gags that I quite liked. But yeah, that was the one thing that jumped out to me just looking at my notes now, where I'm like, yeah. And also, I wanted to get in and say that I thought of that joke before any of you guys made the obvious joke.
Yours
too.
was a script doctor
Yeah,
highlight.
yeah.
How about you, Phil? What stands out to you for better or worse?
So mine is sort of tied into what my problems are with the episode. While I find, like, I did enjoy a lot of the gags and there was sort of a sweetness to the episode, I do like Bart-centric episode when he's showing his softer side. And, you know, they remind you that he's a 10-year-old boy and sometimes, you know, he does care for things. Not very often, as Lisa says. But my main issue was how they sort of danced around their own issue that they brought up. Again, really similar to what they did in the last one, where they pull their punch at the last minute, because that is the cleanest fucking abattoir I've ever seen in my life.
God,
It is
yeah.
a pristine, clean abattoir with bloodless meat everywhere. No one works there. Abattoirs, like earlier in the episode, I was like, okay, they're going to go to the abattoir. How are they going to handle this?
Yeah,
what are they
there's
going to do
stinking
with this?
piles of shit and meat and piss and blood and
Where people work.
where
where
a
people work.
lot of people
a lot
work.
of people
Well,
work.
BT, as someone who has worked in an abattoir for 12 years, can tell us all about the practices.
With his abattoir license.
Yeah, we call us twaries.
choppers.
Abbots. They call us
Choppers.
abbots.
Abbots.
Yeah, so I felt like that was a really emblematic of their inability to land what they'd begun. That whole like,
oh, he's going to fall into a big mincer when we just press the stop button. There's nobody around. The cow suffering is kind of ignored. And then they just sort of hand wave it away with Homer being like, ha ha ha, this was so horrible. I'm never going to eat meat except for all the meat I'm going to eat. The end. And I was like, you
just
lost
the
it.
most obvious joke to do in that moment as well.
Yeah.
It's like when he was approaching it going, oh, the laughter house, this'll be fun. And it's
been
I
done.
wonder if Okja came out before or after this, because it seemed like that setting, like obviously it's based on other like kind of abattoirs, but like the like him walking along the line trying to find his cow reminded me a lot of the ending of Okja.
Right,
Except
okay.
obviously that is just like to make you feel terrible about the conditions and the suffering of the animals who
Well,
are
they glance at it a little bit, with the cows piled or stacked in the thing, You just don't get to humanize the cow and they're not.
They're not doing anything
Okja
with
came
it.
a lot after.
2017.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're not. You can't humanize the character of the cow and make him have all this emotion and sadness and fear and then be like, oh, yeah, but no one's going to change.
Yeah.
How about you, Sean? What stands out to you for better or worse?
You know what? It's the one thing that gave me a big pang of delight because I was so... one of the things that disappointed me the most is I was sitting there through the whole episode. I was like, why is he not talking about having a cow? It's right there, Bart.
there.
It's right there. Use it. And then they waited until the fucking last second.
Yeah.
And it did feel a bit forced, but just the endorphins that I got. Like, if they didn't use it, would have been an automatic episode failure.
Yeah, wow.
I would just drop this because I'm like, that's the bare minimum joke you can land. Modern day Simpsons.
There
and
weren't
you
any
didn't
bears
take it.
in this.
Oh.
I'll see myself out.
Get out. But they had the bear tax. But yeah, it's just like that. You know what? I'll take that joke. It's
Pay it.
He also didn't ever say cowabunga as well. I thought that was
No.
hilarious.
Ah.
what the
That was a
fuck?
soft
Okay,
flop.
well now Sean's immediately failed it again.
Now I'm leaving.
Those cowards.
Ah, moo. Anyway, Chris, what stands out to you for better or
Are you
worse?
saying moo or moo worms?
I'm sorry, Elliot. Did you moo to fill the silence?
I really liked the 2 or like 3 montages that are in this episode.
There's a
some nice
lot.
visual gags.
There
aren't
there was a fair bit of cartooniness in this. I really enjoyed the combine harvester
Dumb, I love it.
montage. Up until they got to the manure part, I wasn't a big fan of that. But
You were a huge Pirates of the Caribbean 3 fan.
it's just it's
Lazy
it's
joke,
a lazy
isn't it?
joke.
Yeah.
It's also a joke that doesn't travel well in time. Like as the show ages, it gets worse and worse. It dates the show.
It
right?
takes you out straight away.
Yeah.
But the rest of it, like I did enjoy the combine harvester running over fish and turning it into cubes of water and fish.
That was quite
and
funny.
I did
Folding
enjoy,
the clothes.
And I did
Folding
enjoy
the
it folding the clothes. That was some
And
nice cartoon.
ramping and stuff. It's so dumb. I love it.
It was silly, but
And that goes
there
a
was
long way to explaining why Bart is doing this at all. Because for a while, I'm like, he doesn't like work. Why would he go to the 4-H club? He's like, okay, machinery and stuff.
Yeah, you get to
Machinery.
dick around with heavy machinery. That's quite fun.
but I think that was one of the big things that stood out to me. That stood out to me rather.
I was
Standard
going to say it.
Oh dear.
Death stooding.
Stupid.
Well, what stowed out to me? I was trying to get cow in there.
Yeah.
It did not
That's
work.
good. It's good.
You coward.
Well, the other ending before the Homer getting through the abattoir ending, where Apu takes a cow and sends him off to India, I guess we assume. And this,
Bad joke.
is this a reference to Casablanca? And just so I can
Yes.
say it, Casablanca?
Yes, you can.
Yes,
Thank
it
you.
is.
Yeah, but for some
It's a
reason...
classic movie.
But for some reason, they're playing, I think, the French national anthem during this moment.
Are they?
Casablanca's in Africa.
So they should have been playing some Toto.
I don't know, man. Yes. Like, it was just...
I don't know. I just thought that joke was a bit rich about them not getting food or medical care. It's like, well, Americans don't get that
Well,
either.
yeah. I was also just
Yeah.
pretty racist.
It was a bit racist.
Yeah.
It was just, the first of 2 cop-out endings for this episode, which was kind of disappointing because I feel like I could have been a bit more favourable on it if they stuck the landing a bit better.
Also, he has the line. Bart has the line of "Here's looking at you, cud," instead of "Here's looking at moo cow, moo kid." Come on,
He's looking at Lou, and even oh,
I mean, you didn't
It's a
stick it
better
either,
line.
but
Play count. Who's seen this episode, BT?
I didn't think I had, but I recognized that combine harvester section. So how
Yeah.
many times the Simpsons have done that? I don't know, 1 probably.
How about the Bearders? How many times have you guys seen this episode before?
1.5.
Yeah,
This is my first viewing and then my second half viewing.
Yeah, I haven't
well, you've
seen
got
this
half
first
on
time.
me, Phil. I've just seen it once.
As I said, Elliot, like post season 15, anything I've ever watched of The Simpsons is through your doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've done this.
Yeah, we should blame you. Blame
Moo.
Oh.
Yeah, it's an uno muno for me as well.
Fucking hell.
That was good. That was I'll pay that one. Yeah.
I think we need a warning label on this episode now.
Yeah, full of cow puns.
Yeah.
It's utterly terrible.
Yay.
And if the audience doesn't like it, they can just have beef with us. That's fine.
Hey.
Fucking hell.
We are really raising the stakes here.
Hey.
Wow.
All these puns, we all deserve a pat on the head.
Look, I'm just
We
going to grab the
must
bull by the
move on.
horns.
I think everything's going to bow fine, though.
Guys, let's move on, okay? Let's just
Fucking
move
hell.
through this.
How is the wackiness in this episode?
I give it 4.5 stars.
That's it. In
And
the
you've
episode,
lost
we're done.
control.
Really?
Oh, you have to be kidding me.
It writes itself. That's fantastic.
This episode is better.
This is all bullshit, and I'm leaving.
The wacky. I mean, it's,
Hey.
look,
Yeah.
it is pretty fucking wacky.
Yeah,
pretty
I mean,
wacky.
It's
Yeah.
pretty wacky.
the roided up cow licks Bart's arm, cow lick,
Oh,
and his
my
hair, his arm grows
Hey.
hair.
Loved that moment. So good.
Yeah.
And then you've got the whole hillbilly
The
wedding.
Cletus thing, yeah.
I don't know kind of how problematic those jokes are for Americans,
Yeah.
like how stereotyping they are. The one thing
Yeah.
that I thought was okay was when they were contrasting the grubbiness of the hillbillies with the fanciness of the wedding.
Yeah.
I thought that
Yeah.
was a clever
The
set
wedding
of
organizer.
jokes, right?
I
Yeah,
did
the
like that because
organizer,
wedding
yeah.
organizers will always be like down to a T. Yeah, I've got two things, like the joke about India and the bullshit classist
The class is bullshit, yeah.
jokes, because it's mean, just about like, you know, people who are lower class, and it's like I don't know. I just didn't feel okay during that
I just
part.
feel like
I really
Cletus-
disliked
Cletus
it.
in general just doesn't really translate well into the later seasons.
Yeah.
It made me feel super uncomfortable as soon as I was like, oh, fucking hell.
Yeah,
they're
and the
using
idea
him.
that they're all child brides and like
Yeah, it gets
that
it treads some icky ground, doesn't
yeah,
it?
like mud floor. It's just unnecessary.
At least he wasn't making meth jokes this episode. I'll take solace in that, because
Are
that's...
you saying
Yeah.
that? Are you saying that marrying children off is better than meth?
It's a weekend.
Huh.
That is not what he's saying. It's just what was said. There's a difference.
There are some good one-liners, though. There are some good one-liners, right? Smack! What was that for? Bart's in trouble. We don't want any of your smart
He
comments.
takes it.
Oh,
he
I
takes it on the
hated this.
chin.
I agree with you. I hated that.
Punching Flanders is
Yep.
one of the 6 notes that I have in my book as a tick. I liked it.
I hated it.
I liked what came before it, which was them trying to convince Maggie to eat her spinach.
hated that gag.
Hated
It just
Same.
went on for
there
so
was no
long.
joke.
I loved
was no
it.
joke.
I kind of liked it because it was just, I like seeing Homer and Marge be a team, and I like the silliness of it, that they make this whole sock puppet show.
But Jordan's anal corner. Homer is petrified of sock puppets.
That's true.
True.
That's true. It's been
Oh.
established.
Sock puppets. Where?
Maybe maybe it's different when he's controlling it, you know?
Maybe it's immersive therapy.
I really liked the wackiness of the cow montage training scene.
Yeah,
Yes,
I paid
that
that.
was nice.
Yeah.
That was good. I really enjoyed that a lot.
Doing like press up.
Yeah.
Oh, he's beating up the beef.
Yeah.
Beating up the
like
beef.
very
Yeah.
ironically.
Yeah.
Rocky, yeah.
Beating meat.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I also really liked the montage of when they're doing the 4-H activities,
Yep.
and then the guy who's in charge of it throws out the jelly sandwiches
Yes.
to the table,
Oh,
all
yeah.
the children,
Yeah.
Because they're
right?
feeding all the animals.
and then feeding the children. I thought that was a really clever, and it was a perfect. A lot of this episode has a lot of like the 1, 2, 3 punch in times of jokes. Sometimes they land it, sometimes they Pirates of the Caribbean 3 it, but those two were really good. They were nice wacky moments.
I'll tell you the wacky bit that I loved is, and I know some people are going to hate it, which is why it's so juicy.
Oh, all right.
The trans Clownomorphs TV show.
I love this.
I loved it.
I felt that was
Hated
written like
the utter
at me.
fuck out of this.
I was
I
gonna
bet
say-
you did.
Yeah,
I'm
as
rather
a really,
neutral.
As a lover of the original
Me
Transformers
too,
show,
yeah. It felt really accurate.
and it felt very much like it reminds me of the Chock-a-Block hour from
Yeah.
when the Simpsons go to Like it was done just well
Yeah.
enough that it's a comment on like advertisement and bullshit and all that. Like I thought it was really cleanly done.
I got very bored during that. I think we're very split down the middle of this
Yeah.
episode,
Yeah,
aren't
I
we?
liked it as it went on. I didn't like it when it first came out, but as the toy started talking to the kids and being like, "Buy my cereal, buy it, buy it," I was like, "Hey, I'm about this. I can fuck with this."
Yeah.
I felt like it was all worth it when Bart and Lisa burst into the kitchen asking Mum to buy the golf club, you know?
Yes. Yes.
It adds power
good
to every
payoff.
drive.
But no, I thought it was kind of a retread of that Futurama episode where they did all the Saturday morning cartoons, even though this would have come first, but whatever.
It can't retread
Yeah.
ground it's forging.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, it pre-treaded.
Yeah. Bit of wackiness I want to call to, and I do really like that it's background only, is when they're all picking which cow they're going to raise, Ralph ends up with a sawhorse. And then later on, he's still got it and he's drawn a face on it. And it's like, okay. And the fact they don't grind to a halt and point at it, I appreciate that a lot.
I didn't notice that. I noticed it in the
him have it,
first
yeah.
instance.
I didn't
I
see
didn't
it
see
come
him
back.
have the face on it. That's great.
When you were talking about the cow montage stuff, there's a lot of really great visual gags just all up in that one area. But I really love particularly where Bart has the brand of Lou and it looks like he's about to brand his cow, but instead he brands just a piece of wood that like becomes his little collar, like his little tag.
Nameplate
Yeah,
thing,
it's
yeah.
very cute. And I was like, oh, that's the kind of sweetness I needed more of in this episode.
I really enjoyed the hippies, the cow liberators.
Oh,
Ah.
Solar panel,
solar panel and compost.
compost. Yeah. Thank you, Mother Fence.
And
Because of exactly, thank you, Mother Fence. Because I thought that was fucking great. And they didn't dwell on those characters. They didn't become the focus of the rest of the fucking episode.
Oh, yeah.
they
Which
didn't-
was great.
Didn't, like dump on them. They're like they're a bit earnest, but they mean well.
Your code name is Lisa's brother.
This moment as well reminded me of an old movie called Fast Food Nation. I don't know if any of you guys saw that.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it.
It starred Avril Lavigne.
What?
And they bust open a fence to try and, liberate cows, but they just don't want to move. Like, fucking
Move.
pun unintended. But yeah, I was wondering if, this moment was calling to that movie.
Apes.
Maybe indirectly. I think it was just a really cute moment of them being like, thank you, Mother Fence. And I'm like, great, very cool.
I love the double Tress McNeil joke.
Yes.
I really like that one.
I liked the first one. I didn't like the second one.
Yeah.
It was so odd.
Yeah.
Tress McNeil is a person in The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think as a one-off thing, I was like, oh, that's cute, that's funny. And then they went back and I was like, oh, it wasn't funny
I
enough
didn't
to
mind
go
them
again.
calling it back.
Would have been nice if it followed Rule of Three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like either
Yeah.
three it or
That the third one's like, I don't know,
Tress McNeil
Tara
shows up
Strong
or something.
or like it's a completely different voice actor. and
Yeah,
you're
that
like,
that
oh,
could've
okay.
worked, yeah.
I don't know.
it's also a very prolific Futurama voice actor as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, and easily up there with just one of my favorite voice actors of all time. Like, God,
Yeah.
Tress is so awesome.
Mm.
But on the opposite side to the wackiness, how about the heart? Did we care about the emotions in this episode?
No.
At the beginning, for me. In the opening, for me, yes. Because I thought, like, here's my problem is it went immediately downhill for me as soon as the Cletus stuff comes into play.
Oh,
and from
yeah.
that point
Yeah.
on, I immediately didn't buy anything that happened with Bart and the cow, really. Like, and especially
Yeah.
the way they don't stick the landing. Because the problem is that by the time you get to him sending him off to India for some fucking reason, is that because they, instead of making it like a nice somber moment, they go for the Casablanca reference.
Yeah.
I'm like, but you're making a reference instead of having a nice heartfelt goodbye.
Yeah.
That kind of encapsulated for me what the point of the heart was. It was just in service of making jokes. And so I thought for me
Yeah.
they lost the ability to kind of really capture that feel.
They were like treading a line, but they fell off it, right? They didn't
Yeah.
quite keep all the way along, yeah.
I think they fall off really early when Lisa puts the CD under his
Yes.
bed.
Yes,
it
yeah.
seemed very cruel.
At about that point, I was like, okay, so this isn't going to be as sentimental an episode as I was originally led to believe. Not that I didn't have a bunch of bumps in there, but like not as it didn't gear itself around that.
yeah,
I feel like they let themselves off the hook.
I totally agree with you, Chris, because like when he was at home and when he was crying, I really did feel for Bart a lot. And I think similar to you, Phil, I really like when Bart is just a sweet little boy and is allowed
Yeah.
to do that. But like, I was like, what a perfect opportunity for Lisa and Bart to actually come together and be
Yeah.
united on the same front. And even if Bart continues to eat meat, like, that's fine, and that happens to people all the time. People who love
Yeah.
animals still eat them, but it would have been nice for her to see that her brother was struggling know that they're working together. She has her hippie friends. Like, it would have been really nice. And then from there, we get all the hillbilly jokes, which seem very cruel as well. And also, when they found Lou in the abattoir, this is just like a little tiny little thing, but he looked kind of happy. And it's like, no, you should see that your cow is like scared and upset. And then you get to rescue it, and then it's a big cathartic thing because you bring it out of the really awful place. But all that you kind of comment on is that its food's been laced with growth hormones, where it's like, you know, it would have been nice to have him like really shaky and scared and Bart go, Lou, Lou, and then it's like this nice little reunion. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's why it's so disappointing that they diverted away from the cow story and had a quick aside to have a wedding episode where Bart marries Cletus's kid. And it was just a vehicle for all these cruel hillbilly jokes, basically, with where one of the kids has a tail and then there's the old diabetic fucking character, which I hate.
From memory, didn't you like Diabetes in the first appearance?
I appreciate the pun, but
it's a good pun.
Yeah. But it's still cruel.
Yeah.
But also, did you guys happen to catch who was playing Mary WrestleMania Spuckler?
Fucking Zoe Deschanel.
Zoe
Oh, was it
Deschanel.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
The new girl herself.
Well,
And you know what? That's actually a positive thing from the episode for me, is because what I'm so like hardlined to think about New Simpsons is whenever they bring in a voice actor,
they play themselves.
They play themselves, and they really fucking put a spotlight on it. This reminded me of when they got Lisa Kudrow in to play DMY. Don't mess yourself. It's
So,
super
like, whatever.
understated. And you just don't. I didn't recognize it was her for the longest time.
And that's her real middle name.
Mary.
WrestleMania. I liked that.
I didn't mind the character of Mary as well. Like,
It would be nice if she had more to do.
Well, all the jokes about like Cletus's family were pretty, punching down, but they didn't really make a whole joke out of her.
The stuff
Apart
around
from
the-
that, the people don't respect
The
her.
stuff around the wedding was fine.
Yeah.
I thought, like, coming from a pretty working class family, like, that's celebration of culture. The stuff before punching down.
Yeah.
The stuff during the wedding, where it's the guy.
I did like the
But it's a
something.
fancy version of
That's
Yeah.
right. That's
cuisine,
celebration
I
of
like that
culture.
'cause
That's
it's more
that's largely positive.
That's more absurd as well.
Yeah.
Like the something borrowed.
Oh,
Like,
I hated this. It's so
So did I.
laboured and shit.
So did I.
I didn't like that, but the something borrowed got me, where it was just like an
right.
opossum, and I was like, all right, you get a
Something
smile
old
for the
was
pun.
funny.
Something stew.
Yeah.
Waka waka.
That lost me again.
Yeah.
But
I
the
liked
possum around her neck made me done tear up a bit.
There were just little moments of where I felt the heart like bursting through. There were like little simple moments, especially the early part. Just when Bart says, "Oh, that's perfect. It rhymes with moo." It's just
Aw,
lovely.
it was
It's
sweet.
not really a gag. It's just nice.
Sometimes we
feel
can have
nice.
nice things just as a treat.
Or when Mary wraps Bart and Lou in the little blankie.
Oh yeah, when they're bonding.
when
That
they're
was a
sleeping.
nice little moment.
Yeah.
Even Bart listening to Homer explaining about Dean Martin, like it wasn't that funny, but I was kind of like, this is kind of nice that Bart is having a nice little moment
They're
with his
doing
dad.
something almost normal.
Yeah, rebeaning the chairs.
Yeah.
That is fucking relatable because I had bean bags growing up. And like you'd have to fucking go get the whole big bags of beans and then try and fill them up with a funnel, and your dad would spill them everywhere. And
In a funnel, you put the bag in the other bag, and it's all right.
it would spill out.
It's the whole thing.
And one time I lost my mouse in there. Anyway.
Like a pet mouse or a
Yeah,
computer mouse?
No, my pet mouse. It was on my shoulder and it like got into the bean bag. And I was like, holy fuck, this might be how my mouse dies. He was fine.
BT, was there any heart moments for you?
Sorry, I was engaged with that story. Go on, Ellen.
I was
Sorry,
just about to
no,
ask
he
Ellen,
was
did you have
fine.
any similar awful incidences making banana bread?
What do you mean?
Did the mouse
That's
make
the
it
other
out
thing
alive?
that they have to do. So Lisa makes banana bread while
Bart and Homer
Bart
are
and Homer
rebeaning.
go.
Oh,
Yeah.
I totally fucking forgot about that. No,
Damn it,
I have
did the
not
mouse
had.
survive?
No, I just like very luckily kind of grabbed him out,
Right.
and he lived a long 3 years, which is
Pretty
normal
good
for a mouse.
But in
Yeah.
answer to Shaw's
BT,
question,
what about the heart moments for you?
Oh,
damn it.
this
Interrupt
thing.
my segue.
No, I feel like it's
Thank
already
you,
been
host
covered
Sean.
specifically in.
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah. Burn. Even in the sense of, that last moment where they're like, okay, you just imagine the writer's room. They're like, okay, guys, we got this emotional moment where a young boy is saying goodbye to his beloved pet. It's going away forever, but it's saving his life. What do we do? Humphrey Bogart impersonation. Yeah? Yeah? Cold and disconnected? Yeah, that's what we're doing? Okay, great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Why not like do a rip-off of Flipper or something?
You know what?
I don't know.
It'd be a weird as hell tie-in, but he was talking about what, Dean Martin at the beginning of the episode, wasn't he? So maybe
Yes.
Bart does a moment, steals himself and goes, like Dean Martin, you just do it in one take, Bart, let's go. It's not
Oh, yeah,
good,
I mean-
but at least it ties into something.
And gives
I
that
guess.
opening bit some point. But ultimately, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons? And did the characters feel like themselves?
The characters felt like themselves to me.
Yeah, nothing's a betrayal here.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
like plot itself felt
Yeah.
a bit muddled, and they didn't get to pay off the emotion that they had kind of set up for themselves. Yeah, I recognize the characters for sure.
I know it seems muddled, but for me, this feels like a lot of what Simpsons episodes do, which is they start in one direction, take a bit of a left turn, and you get to the real thing that's happening in the episode, and then take a couple more left turns, and then they go
Yeah.
back. So that felt quite familiar. Sometimes it works better than others. This, because of some of the divergence, don't work too well. But I feel like the beginning of like, they watch too much TV, so no more TV, too much advertising, you got to do something else. And while doing something else, Bart sees something that sets him off for something he wants to do over the summer. Feels like classic Simpsons structure to me. So for me, it felt like structurally a Simpsons episode as much as the characters did. Yeah.
Characters felt maybe a tiny bit watered down, but generally I thought they were pretty right. Lisa to me is the big one
yeah.
where
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't buy this. I don't think she would use that sort of tactic to convince someone of being a vegetarian. Like, it just
know what-
doesn't feel right.
You know what it is for me is I think while I agree the characters are kind of roughly staying to where they should, for me it's kind of the first, they've just opened the door a crack for what would eventually be them becoming the parodies of what made them themselves. Like similar to how you see Homer just being a big, like just
Jerk-ass Homer.
jerk-ass, unintelligent Homer. Whereas like it's the beginnings of, Lisa's just a random mean vegetarian that just does weird tactics. Like it just feels
Yeah.
Manipulative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
beginnings of that.
Yeah. And PT, as you always like, they started out the episode watching television.
Yeah, yeah.
But I did sort of feel like this was erring more on the sketch show side of The Simpsons that would also be problematic in the HD era. I agree, there's no real character betrayal as much, but yeah, it's a bit of a caricature, though.
Yeah.
It does
Yeah.
feel like a halfway house between the classic stuff and the HD era. You can see
totally.
where it's going and where it's been.
And
for
it
sure.
seems like they can't do all the characters at once. Like Bart for me is really present and true to kind of form in this episode, but then everyone else has to be like a silly parody to compensate somehow. Whereas like I feel like in old classic Simpsons you had everyone kind of firing at the same.
kind of dig
same
Homer in
level.
this one.
Homer's pretty good. Socking Flanders right in the middle of the face. It's
I-
pretty fucking violent out of nowhere.
My favorite Homer thing is where he gives. It's like a classic Homer thing to give like the wrong takeaway from a situation,
Yeah.
but is still like accidentally insightful. And he says, "Well, let this be a lesson to you.
Don't form attachments.
Never work. Don't form attachments, and don't be a cow."
Yeah.
It's like that's classic Homer. It's stupid, the wrong take, but actually, it's got a point.
Don't be a cow.
Don't be a cow.
Don't have a cow, man.
But yes or no, would you watch this episode again?
Laundry.
Nah.
I wouldn't skip it. Yeah, I wouldn't skip
Yeah.
it.
I wouldn't
skip it.
actively put it on.
Yeah.
But I don't actively watch The Simpsons. It's
Yeah.
a weird reference
Yeah.
point for me.
If a podcast made me, I'd watch it.
Yeah, that's right. That's
If
right.
you asked us to revisit it, sure.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
we do it for you.
I would not go out of
Aw.
my way to watch this, but if it was
No.
on, I would sit down and watch it.
Yeah, me too.
I wouldn't.
Yeah,
It wouldn't background noise. I would sit down and watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, episodes that we might tolerate again. We like to think about what playlist we could put them in. What are some other Simpsons episodes that would pair nicely with this one?
References to the 4-H club.
Yeah.
Oh, there are no children here. Am I so out of touch?
No.
It's the children that are wrong.
Lisa the vegetarian is the obvious pairing.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that
Or
one. Yeah,
pair it
that's-
with Stampy.
Bart gets
Oh.
giant animals.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say, yeah, Bart or Lisa with animals. Like I think Lisa getting the horse, or
Yeah.
or them getting what's the fucking what's
Lisa's-
Bart's badass horse that ends up in that horrible jockey
Oh.
episode?
Duncan.
Yeah.
Duncan. There we go.
Just stop that episode at the halfway point, though.
Yep.
The fucking jockeys, the elf jockeys.
Oh, man. Recently reviewed, we also tie in with Bart the Mother.
Where he takes care of the little bird's eggs.
Oh.
Well,
Yeah.
Lizard eggs.
No, they came out of a bird's nest. Ergo, they are birds.
Or like another like animal rights one, or like kind of nature rights, where Lisa stays in the tree for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
The kid's
That's
having
great.
a stand.
I was actually genuinely surprised when she said, "Oh, my hippie friends are here to help me," that it wasn't that guy from that episode.
The really attractive.
Wasn't the voice like a boy band star? I don't think they'd
No,
get him
it
again.
was Josh something. God, he was in Cruel Intentions and Dawson's
that
Creek. I
guy.
want to
Wait,
say.
is that Josh Hartnett?
Yeah.
No, not Josh Hartnett.
No, he
Who's Josh
sucks.
Hartnett? Oh.
He's another
that guy
kind
that
of
sucks.
similar like young actor.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Joshua Jackson.
That's the one.
I don't know who that is.
Neither do I.
All right, so let's get into fixing this episode up. Ellen, we'll start with you this time. What would you like to change about this episode?
I think I already suggested it, but I don't know. I'm losing time here. Basically, I would like it to be like, I would just cut the whole hillbilly wedding. I don't like it. You could kind of pair it more with that horse episode where Bart has to actually kind of really struggle to figure out, I don't want this one to become meat, but I don't know what to do with it. How do I find it a good home? I was just focused on, Bart and his cow and how to figure out how to make it a real strong sibling connection. So have Lisa and Bart actually like really come together, and they obviously have differing sides on this, but like this is a good opportunity to talk it out. You know, like they can have different opinions on whether they will still eat meat or not after having a close relationship or like, you know, emotional bond with an animal. I just would have done that. Just cut all the hillbilly and racist shit.
Yep. How about you, Chris? What would you like to change?
I would pare down the hillbilly stuff. You only really need like the wedding scene, I think. Make it a stop off rather than eliminating it completely. Maybe Cletus is having a wedding and they can hide the cow, maybe, or maybe that's where the cow goes for the ending. I don't know.
It's like one idea they have that doesn't work out. Right?
Yeah.
It's in a sequence of 3 or 4, rule of 3 or something. You know, they go to Cletus, they go to, I don't know, 2 other places where they try and hide
petting
the cow.
zoo.
There you go. Or like an animal shelter, and the animal shelter's like, we're full of cats and dogs. We can't take a cow.
Yeah.
You've already taken your damn elephant. What else do you want from us?
Exactly. Perfect.
They paint the cow and dress it up as an elephant. And try.
But all you need to do is scratch the part where Lisa puts a DVD or a CD under the bed, turn that into like an extra 5 or 6 minutes of Bart and Lisa talking, experiencing, living with comedy the life of a vegetarian, see from Bart's perspective how hard it is, and you can still have Bart come out the other end of being a meat eater. He doesn't have to flip to vegetarianism.
But he can make little changes like not stirring his lemonade with a sausage.
Exactly.
Yeah, but maybe we can actually glance at real world things and say what are some actual changes you can make.
Yeah, more ethical
More
meat.
ethical choices, yeah.
It's just like people that have a respect of knowing where their meat comes from.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a haranguing about everyone must become vegetarian, but to ignore the issue entirely is...
If you're setting yourself up, you shouldn't.
And is that what you'd change, Phil?
So I'd go with those changes, but I would just definitely make sure we do not go to an abattoir. I do not think it's a good place for the Simpsons to end up, because they have to either do blood and shit and tired abattoir workers and really look at the horror of it, which obviously they're not going to do.
Or misrepresent
Or
it.
misrepresent it as some weird, cleaned factory place where the cows just passively go to the
They've
slaughter.
already done it, but like better in Lisa the Vegetarian, where they have the like propaganda
Yeah.
for the meat consumption. And it's just like this weird sanitized version of like, you know, cows come in.
And the kid goes in and comes out traumatized.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't worry, Jimmy. It's not really a floor. It's more of a metal grating that allows material to sluice through.
That's so much better, right? It's dark,
Yeah.
but if you tread the line, it's so much better than this version, which just feels like cowardly. And I would just... Hey!
20 points. Sean, what would you like to change?
Honestly, it's going to be a lot of the same. Like, and because I was thinking having a conversation between Bart and Lisa about, like, because, you know, she finally gets to talk to Bart about why she's a vegetarian and what that means for her and why it's important to her. And you're right, Bart doesn't need to go the whole hog, but he can meet her halfway. But the thing is, where do you actually get like the extra time? Is you pare down that couch gag that went for fucking ever.
It was so long.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's
What
where you
was
get
this? Was this a preview of Disenchantment? Like,
Yeah. That's where you get an entire like extra minute,
or
which can be a
Midsummer.
full monologue.
Yep.
And you don't like actually have some sort of heartfelt goodbye between Bart and the cow because you can earn it. Not everything has to be a reference, especially if it's a reference without a reason. Because that's where Pirates 3 comes in. Like, it's not a show about making commentary about fucking Johnny Depp films. Like, fuck it. I don't need it. And it dates itself so quickly. Like, just get rid of all those unnecessary references. Fuck Cletus right off. I don't want him anywhere near this episode. I really wouldn't have Zoe Desch. I don't think I would have that character in. I think it can be very much Bart and Lisa centric without having Mary WrestleMania Scarlett Johansson in. I don't know what her name was.
Beckler.
Take her out. And I think it can just be another lovely Bart and Lisa learn a lesson episode.
How about you, BT?
I'd like to make a collage of everything that was just said. I think you could cut out a lot of like the padded jokes. You could possibly then use a B plot. If you're going to have Mary in this, have her more often because I completely forgot she was a thing until she was reintroduced.
Yeah.
However, because all those things were already kind of mentioned, I'm going to go the other direction because this is called Apocalypse Cow. Why not have the entire thing be a parody of the movie Apocalypse Now, where Bart has to travel up the river with his cow and he's trying to find ways to liberate it as he goes. And when he finally gets there, he sacrifices it like they do in the movie, but at least it dies by his hand.
Wow, that's dark.
That is dark.
It's based off a book called Heart of Darkness. What do you want?
Yeah, look, what I'd change, this is kind of the difficult thing when you've got a 6-person panel, is that, all the good ideas have been taken, but the wedding was just an unnecessary diversion in this episode, which could have been told a lot better and a lot more concise.
That's when you throw out a really bad idea, Elliot.
I want him to have even worse OH&S on the forklift.
No!
I want Lisa to be riding on that gas can that goes on the back.
No! Oh, God!
Someone gets pierced by the tines of the fork.
Oh, God, no.
That's what'll happen if without proper safety.
BT OH&S consultant.
I want this to be a podcast.
The O&H strikes in various TV and film. I love it.
Yeah, it would be like, are you listening to this at work? Well, stop it.
You're
Attention to your
distracted.
job.
All right, we are here. It's time for final notes time. Phil, we'll start with you. Do you have any other notes about this episode?
Changing Wikipedia. That was my other joke I wanted to talk about, where he's like, oh, well, Wikipedia says he prepares really hard. He's like, don't worry, we'll change it when we get home. I thought that's a really good joke. I can just imagine Homer just like gleefully editing all sorts of silly different things in Wikipedia to be completely wrong and dumb.
Oh, that's cute.
I
But in a
actually
really
tried
sweet
going
way.
through Wikipedia like when we were a few weeks into this podcast and adding into the reception section of all the Simpsons episodes. The Simpsons Index gave this episode a shiny gold. Immediately got taken down and I got struck
Which
with a
is
warning.
bullshit because it's
But
correct.
it's true.
Give it
Yeah, but the
another
thing is,
shot.
like, the
I
person
know.
who's responsible can't be the one who's editing it. So if someone
Yeah.
else on our behalf were to edit it,
Wank.
yeah, and that's not a fashion corner wink.
No.
I was going to say, is that me?
Speaking of, Ellen, do you have any other notes?
Just the one joke I haven't touched on when he thinks that Lou is a girl. He was like, oh, I thought it was peeing out the nipple.
It's so innocent. I love it.
It was a very funny joke and I liked it.
How about you, BT? Any other notes?
Of course. Who do you think you're talking to? I have very mixed feelings on Cletus's kid stabbed in jail. That was its name. And I'm
Hated it. So obvious.
I know.
I did laugh, I have to admit.
Yeah.
The name was bad, but I like the kid is like sharpening a stick. Is like, oh, we'll see who gets stabbed. It's like,
Yeah.
good for you, kid. You don't take that fate lying down. You don't let the world tell you who you are. They have a hillbilly version of the wedding march that sounded quite good.
Oh, yeah.
And I believe that is all my notes. Elliot J. Neal.
How about you, Chris? Any other notes?
I really enjoyed Cheese's genocide as the callback from the hippies. I really quite enjoyed
Milk
that.
is murder,
Milk
cheese.
is murder, cheese is
Jesus
genocide. Because it's such an overstatement. I love that. The I said love, not lust from Cletus doing the jug. I quite
Hated
liked
this.
that.
And of course, the
hated
jug
that.
song was Homer's jug song.
Yeah, this was
I
a
quite liked it.
totally worse version of the Never Stop in the Middle of a Hoedown.
Yep.
I quite liked that. Even, I saw it coming, but I really enjoyed it. The hillbilly welling, something stew. I did enjoy that.
We are two different people.
And the WrestleMania as a middle name, great.
Yeah, I like
Yep.
that too.
don't need to hear from the woman because the man's already spoken and we're accepting the wedding. I was like, that's very funny.
It's
It's not very comfortable, but
it's
it
not
is a
very
little bit
funny.
funny. It was a bit funny.
It's good commentary.
No,
it's not
no.
meant to be
Commentary.
comfortable.
It's
supposed to
and
be
the way
funny.
they phrase it is perfect. It's like, and as we don't need to hear from the women folk. Yeah, it's just like,
Really hated the cow getting caught on the tree. Really hated the phone being turned off and then turned back on again. Being lampshaded by
announcing it
Marge.
loudly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
didn't like that at all. That's fucking sucked. And I thought the ending was really nice. Yeah, abattoirs need to be depicted more in children's cartoons.
How about you, Sean? Any other notes?
I only have one note, which is the only other fake out joke that I really enjoyed, which is when he gets the branding of Lou and you think it's going to go into the cow, and then he goes to the beside the cow and brands a little.
Didn't Ellen just mention that before?
Did
Yeah.
you? Well, that's the only note I've got, and I'm going to say it. So
As we've already heard from the men.
yeah, that's right.
All right, well, that must mean it's time to rank this thing. And Ellen's turn to go first.
Yeah, thank you. Might give it a bronze.
Big old bronze.
Yeah, like I had a few chuckles. Like there were some uncomfortable bits, but I didn't find it super egregious because it steered more into like absurdism. The India joke was bad. I won't like gloss over that, but there were some laughs. There were some good tries. It just could have been so much better.
Definitely. How about you, BT?
I'm going to just straight participant. I'm going to struggle to remember this tomorrow. I was struggling to remember parts of it while we were talking about it. I will remember all our fantastic cow puns, however. Those were all blue ribbon.
Oh,
Thanks for the moomeries.
oh shit. How about you, Phil?
Well, I'm on that line between participant and bronze. I was really hoping I'd be later down the list. So I think because the back half of this is so weak, it drops it down to participant for me. I think failing to stick the landing is, for me, what stops it being bronze. If it was just like a nothingy episode and it ended kind of, all right, okay. It was just like, no, I didn't. There was so much more to be mined out of it, where they could have made a compromise about how we can look at our meat more ethically, right? And instead of just hand-waving it away and forgiving everyone for not changing. So I think by missing that opportunity, it gets participant.
And Sean?
Yeah, it's going to be a participant for me as well. I just don't think it's a particularly good, smart, and intelligently thought out or written or executed episode. It's not egregious enough and super offensive that it's going to be a failure, but I just really think that they had the beginnings of something that could have been really effective, and they just didn't know how to handle it and couldn't help themselves. They had to chuck in the references and the bad jokes, and they really undercut themselves when it came to actually having serviceable emotional moments.
Yeah, look, this is a participant for me as well, and it's a shame because, I was having a good enough time in the first act of this one. It's just, it dropped off so dramatically and so disappointingly that, participant sort of feels right for me. And Chris, could you please finish it off?
I will, with a bronze. I didn't find the back half nearly as bad. I thought it was not great, and there were certainly some like negative things there, but I think the front half kind of managed to balance that. And in like the episodes that we talked about in the playlist, those would be gold and cubic episodes. So I think bronze is about right. There's nothing there, so it's for me not participant, and it's not offensive, so it's not failure. It's bronze.
Yeah, well, I like this overall ranking for it. This one is a shiny participant. And the first episode from season 19 to get a shiny participant. It's mostly a lot worse than that.
I could imagine.
Thank you.
It was weirdly spacious inside that cow costume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
Homer's
are all the
legs. I
legs
don't know.
working?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's very
Homer's
strange.
a talented guy.
Yeah, that's
He's a good puppeteer. Oh well, we saw with the sock puppets.
Yeah, puppet.
Hey, it paid off.
All right. You all have earned it. I've definitely put you through the ringer on this one. Oh, the next episode. Sean,
Yay!
what are we watching, mate?
Hey.
Yay! You only moved twice.
Hank Scorpio, baby.
Give me Zacconi. Oh, sorry.
Favorite fucking
Sorry.
Simpsons episode of all fucking time.
Such a scam that we're on enjoying this episode.
I
You
might
only
have to,
moved twice, of course.
Hey, I might have to watch this alone because I'll quote everything and ruin it for
So you can
whoever I'm
Yeah.
watching it with.
Just
you
do
can
a dramatic reenactment.
Right, he's got it.
All right, so we're going to go watch that. We will be back. And And we are back, and we just watched our classic era episode, and fuck, what a classic this was. This was Season 8, Episode 2, You Only Move Twice.
Oh, yeah.
First released in November of 1996, it was directed by Mike B. Anderson, written by John Swartzwelder. In this episode, you know this episode, the Simpsons moved to Cypress Creek, and Hank Scorpio is fucking amazing. Guys, what'd you think?
It's
amazing.
Well, I mean, it's
Wait.
the treat that
Chris?
we deserve.
We're all looking at Chris now.
Why are you looking at me?
Because you said
You haven't said
didn't like
anything.
it very
You said
much.
you weren't going to be on this podcast because you hated it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like this episode.
Yay!
Oh, the jig is up.
The king of controversy.
Well, we'll start with you then, Chris. For better or worse, what is a moment from this amazing episode that stood out to you?
There's
Editorializing
there's a
slightly.
lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
It's so hard to pick.
Not one moment, but like kind of a narrative device that is each of the four Simpsons characters have such a unique and kind of tailored response to the move. With Lisa,
It's all ensemble episode, isn't it?
it is. Or it's not ensemble in that everyone is actioning the
Yeah.
plot or moving the plot forward, but it's an ensemble in that each of them is given time and space, and that none of them feel left out or like secondary or underutilized is probably a better way. I remembered that not being the case, and I'm glad to discover that it is the case.
Proven wrong.
I like to be proven wrong. It means I'm learning.
Aw,
Yeah.
wholesome.
Good on you for learning. But yeah, no, it is a really amazing thing that this episode does in that they can completely displace the Simpsons from Springfield and then also have time to give them all a story and then also have time for Hank Scorpio. Like,
And Hank Scorpio needs a lot of time.
Oh,
yeah, like, there is a lot of episode in this episode.
Oh, my. Yes.
Oh my god.
So much episode.
There's 3 times more episode in this episode.
And Sean, you putting forth early your feelings towards wanting to review this episode for the index. That was
Hello.
the best way I could have said that
Yeah,
sentence.
I understood that.
And we won't take it again.
No,
That's
never.
Everyone,
now
this is the new speak. This is how we talk now.
We're all one take wonders here.
Come on, Daddy, tell me.
So,
Stop.
better or worse, Sean, what moment stood out to you?
Yeah, you know what for me is I really appreciated how it starts off incredibly slow. Not in a bad way, but it just starts off at a really kind of nice, easy pace. And as the episode progresses, it just rollicks faster and quicker, and Hank Scorpio comes up. And then every single fucking reference that I remember seems to be just jam-packed into the second half of the episode. And it's such a joy to watch because the pacing of it is just incredible. And I think the main thing that I remember from it is that I will call it is the best guest star that has ever been on The Simpsons. Hands down.
Huge
Bold
goal.
Yeah.
I don't know who the guest is. I saw the in the credits, but I don't know this man. I don't recognize this man.
I don't know this man.
I feel sorry for this man.
Yes, this is the guest star of the episode, Albert Brooks.
Yeah.
Albert Brooks is a big comedian, did a lot of stuff in, the 70s, 80s, 90s. He has appeared in The Odd Simpsons since then, but he's more classically remembered for, obviously, Hank Scorpio and for Jacques from the season 1
Yeah.
bowling episode.
Love Jacques.
And he was also Russ Cargill, the antagonist of the Simpsons movie.
And he was also like a random car salesman that I don't remember from episode 4. And the reason I remember this is because it's when, before that we did Shut Up and Take My Podcast, Chris, myself, and James, if you remember him, we did a Simpsons podcast first, and we did the first 9 episodes. And this guy popped up in episode 4. And we'd never heard of him or remembered him. It was great.
Yeah, from the RV episode. It
Yes,
wasn't
yes,
his
yes.
strongest
Oh.
character, but he
Nope.
does have like little underplayed moments. The very Albert
That- I
Brooksian.
remember being pretty good. He's got that whole bit of, now, Mr. Simpson, I remember you guy called me early. He said, save that little one for me. I'll be coming in. That gentleman has arrived right now. Are you going to
Yeah.
take this vehicle or not?
But it's much like this performance now where you pick it apart and it's like, there's actually not that many actual jokes. There's just a lot of funny character moments.
Yeah.
It's bold confidence in every single word.
Yeah.
I was going to say that for like my things that I notice in terms of like, it's kind of like what I like about Auntie Donna or like a few of those kind of anti-comedy groups where it's just like, it's a breath too long than you would normally expect from a gag. I think the thing that I love so much is the trust fall. 3,
Yeah.
2, 1 moment. Oh my God, a guy just fell on the floor. Like,
Don't chalk that up to distrust now.
just like a lot of his gags and one-liners are just like, they're funny in the sense that there's not a punchline. They're just kind of funny because they're so outrageous and delivered so confidently.
And you don't have a chance to really sit with it either. They don't kind of lampshade it. Just joke, move on.
It's
kind
of like Lisa in the forest with the owl, then getting the chipmunk. It's just funny. Like,
It's
not lampshaded too much.
Simple, I think. Yeah.
Well, Ellen, I think, you said that's what stood out to you, for better or worse. How about you, Phil? What stands out to you?
Look, I'm going to have to highlight a Hank Hank moment again.
Highlight a Hank.
Highlight a Hank. For me, it's split between the finale of the Bond film that's happening.
Bond.
while Homer has his emotional moment, and the contrast there is just one of the best kind of pieces of scene setting. But in terms of like the way they introduce Hank Scorpio is everything. And they just nail it. You know who he is. You know what it's about. And the energy he brings into the episode is what I think Sean identifies. It's going along one way. And then as soon as he knocks on the door and he appears, the episode just goes up a gear or 2 or 5 gears.
It knocks up a
like
notch.
these moccasins, there's a pair in your closet. Don't like them, throw them away. I'm on a fun run.
It goes
just
up,
like, whoa!
It goes up another story on your house.
Yeah. just that 30 seconds a minute that they bring him in, and he makes 2 bad jokes, throws away his moccasins, is the front runner in a fun run, and has a minute to talk to them before running away.
And what does he tells them to eat papayas?
Tells them to eat papayas.
Or the papayin.
Papayin. Says that he doesn't like to be called the boss, even though he comes in later, has more vacation, gets paid way more. He doesn't like the word. Like, all of that is crammed. It's such a time. And by the time he runs away, you're just like, oh, okay.
I've just been hit in the face.
Wow.
Well-rendered personality.
I want more of this guy. And you do. You get way more of him. So that for me is where they nail it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're right. It's happening so quick and fast, and like it's something that I didn't think I ever noticed or thought about over the years. That he did the first part of that fun run in moccasins.
Yeah.
He's doing the rest of it without any
And he's
shoes.
doing the next barefoot. You ever seen a guy say goodbye to the shoe?
That's because no one's gonna dare run in front of him. I bet they're just waiting for his he's a dictator. We're not gonna.
I don't know. I reckon he would be annoyed if someone.
He would be okay with it, but I just don't know whether they would still be like, do we
run ahead of him?
I know he'd be okay, but maybe not.
It's actually probably a fair point. The entire town pretty much runs on the Globex Corporation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a planned town. They say it in the video. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where your dreams can come true, as long as your dreams are within the Globex Corporation. How about you, BT? What stands out to you, for better or worse?
Man, I was sitting down this one really trying to assess it, especially as we're going through, and it's like, how do I feel in this critical watch about this episode? Ultimately, I came to the conclusion this feels entirely like a victory lap for The Simpsons, in the sense that they couldn't do this if they weren't, one of the biggest shows ever. But particularly because I love that they take what is basically a very small family story and have this backdrop of the Bond villain. That gets epitomized for me right at the end, where Homer's kind of walking out of Hank Scorpio's office all dejected, and someone throws a grenade at him and just kind of kicks it away. And again, no attention is called to it whatsoever. He doesn't go, what's this? It's just that one little moment. So for him, it's just a story about he tried to make something big of himself. He was doing well, but ultimately he has to be a family man first. He has to do what's right for his family. Everything else is just set dressing.
Yeah.
And that set dressing is insanity.
And what a set dressing.
Oh my, yes.
Mwah, chef's kiss.
But just how much this wouldn't work if Homer noticed at all, or gave any credence to it. It's great.
I love that he nearly does.
Yeah, but it wouldn't work if they tried to do it now. They wouldn't be able to handle an episode like this.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think they would push. I think they would nod too hard to the reference they were making.
Well, because the Bond, actually including Mr. Bond, is about as close as they come. And they don't overdo it.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any interest or affection towards the James Bond series at all?
God,
I
I've
do.
watched almost all of them.
I grew up with them.
It's a no from me, dog.
A doctor, no?
No.
Get out of here.
References.
Hello there, friends. As someone with the last name Bond, my father sat me down and made me watch them all.
Oh.
How was that?
How terrible.
Fine. Because he was like, you're going to have lots of people ask dumb questions about your last name and the films. You should have the answers to them
I mean,
so that you can get along with these people, whoever
like
the fuck they are.
Seems like your dad could have avoided that. I don't know.
Why?
Why? By changing his last name?
Yeah. I don't know.
He's
It's
going to
just like
change everything who he is just
what?
for everybody else. Is that the message, Ellen?
I don't know. It's just a weird thing to be like, you're going to be compared to a fictional character with a last name, so you better swat up.
I mean,
I don't want my child to have the dumb questions that I had. I'm going to change our last name to Bon Jovi.
Chris, did you get a lot of weird questions growing up about your last name?
Yes.
Then it was all done correctly.
I don't know.
You should have taught. You should have
That's
taught you to tell them
parenthood.
to go away.
I grew up quite heavily with the Bond series. And looking back, I can look back at them and go, they're pretty awful. But I still have affection. Like, to me, Casino Royale, for example, is one of the greatest action films ever made. I think it's close to a perfect action film. And I definitely appreciate the Daniel Craig era more because they understand the bad points of the franchise and they lean into it as a character trait and a comment on. Oh, Pierce Brosnan was just... And I played the GoldenEye game when I was a kid. Like,
GoldenEye, the
That was my
Nintendo
entry.
64 game was amazing.
Yes.
I will say that.
The film itself is not bad. That's
Film's pretty good.
That was
Yeah.
the one I sort of
Goofy fun.
came of age with.
Yes.
Was the first of the Brosnan era was GoldenEye,
Yeah.
right? And
Yep.
Sean Bean's knocking it out of the park and that. And,
Yeah.
and,
Dying extravagantly, as
yeah,
always.
as he always
As is
does.
Sean Bean's way.
Trevelyan.
Yeah,
Yes, that's right.
It was a great transfer into the modern era, I think, of Bonds. Obviously, it has its problems now, looking back on it, but they vary in quality a lot. The Bond films.
Yes.
Some of them are great. Some of them are just fucking wacky, wild, like Moonraker. Or whatever. Moonraker's just fucking bonkers.
Remembering that Christopher Walken is a Bond villain?
Yeah.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Hell yeah.
Well, it makes sense.
The things it brought us, like Blofeld, that whole archetype of the cat petting villain.
We would not have Dr. Evil without him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And but weirdly, it does have some really problematic things. Like
What? In a Bond film?
the Bond film that this is named after, You Only Live Twice.
Yeah.
Is that the one with the terrible
With the
things
yellow
about the Romani people?
I remember it as the one where they use plastic surgery to
Oh,
make him
no,
into an
that's
extremely unconvincing Japanese man.
So
That's that
no.
one. Yeah, and it's Sean Connery as well.
yeah, because
It is so bad.
Because I can't remember, there is a Bond film where it's like, there's like basically Romani people, and it's just like there's a scuff between them, and they're like, oh no, we will settle this the G word way. And then just heaps of people come like cartwheeling out of caravans and fight.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it's one of the Roger Moore ones.
It
I
is
can't
a
remember.
Roger Moore one.
Yeah.
Well, I bring it up because, like, I'm not that familiar with the films. Of course, yeah, same. I saw GoldenEye because I played GoldenEye. I saw a couple of Daniel Craig films. They're good fun. But how were the sort of nods and tributes handled in this episode to you guys? Like, what do you
That's more a
reckon?
general mood than a specific reference, I feel
That's
like.
true.
You know, the sliding screen with the, you know, link to the UN and the girl in the background doing flips and then breaking a guy with her legs. Oh my
Giant
God.
laser.
In a bikini, of course.
The skull.
The
Giant
giant
laser.
laser is about the only
The
direct
germ
reference,
warfare.
I'd say.
Yeah, direct reference is the
Direct
laser
reference.
with Bont tied up is
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
only direct one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the sexy broad who kills.
In a
That's it.
bikini.
And then just, you know, ridiculous, like Hank Scorpio is
Scorpio.
such
Yeah.
Calling
Globex
himself
Scorpio.
Strawberry.
Yeah, all
Globex.
that, it's very indirect reference.
But I like it
Yeah.
because you can come to it without. We know enough just by cultural osmosis of the Bond films that we get it. But we've also seen other films with a super villain, with, you know, a ghoulish, super evil corporation. It's enough so it's like everyone comes to it and has equal
shared
amounts of
understanding.
fun.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, hey, do you remember this? And you're like, no. It's like, well, probably best
You're not
to
going to
sit
get the
this-
next 20 minutes then.
Sit this episode out then.
I love how long it takes to actually introduce the supervillain angle.
Yeah.
It's not until he happens to be just like standing around in his office, like asking a question about habits, and he's like, "Oh, hang on, I have to take a call with the UN
Oh, yeah.
and threaten them."
Yes.
Homer's just completely disinterested.
Yeah,
It's
he
like,
just-
this is upper management stuff. Blah,
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone
That's
seems
like-
lovely in the office, though.
Yeah, that's right. It's like 20 minutes in or something, and you're like, "Hang on, what?"
And he's just
Yeah,
allowed to walk through to the laser area because it's like, do you know if there's any sugar? And the guy's like, "Oh, just
Try in there, Homer.
Everyone knows his name. It's such a great
lovely.
place to work.
By the way, Elliot, we were saying like, so we're all clear. We're all on Hank Scorpio's side,
oh
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
for
oh,
sure."
God, yeah.
I mean, everything at Glopex seems lovely, so it's like,
No
yeah,
walls.
sure, why wouldn't I just
I do like a good wall,
hand
though,
the
Phil.
east over to Hank Scorpio? I think he'd probably run it fine. I don't know. I'd get paid vacation, and that's all I'm really here
that's
for.
right. Generous pension
A
plan.
generous pension plan.
Yeah,
and they
and the
have,
song-
It's a downgrade because it's only 3 weeks paid vacation, whereas in Australia we get 4. So, whereas the US, the standard is only 2.
That's right. Do you think they'd expand to Australia? Globex? I mean, it's Globe, so probably.
Yeah.
yeah, they probably want to conquer us.
Global.
Why not?
Ah, very good.
Hank Scorpio, if you're interested in opening up a Project Arcturus Australian branch, it would be all.
Arcturus, mate.
I love that they leave it hanging as well. Like he just sees us to the East Coast on the newspaper.
That's
The front
canon
is-
now.
and that's it. He's just in charge.
Yeah, no resetting to 0 there. It's the East Coast of America is owned by Hank Scorpio in the Simpsons world.
What is the East Coast? What states and what cities
York.
are there?
Yeah.
So
Florida.
it's
Florida.
strongly because they say it's upstate somewhere, and the redwood trees. It's implied to be like upper.
Like Vermont?
Yeah, that area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because he sees the East Coast doesn't mean he's on the East Coast.
That's true.
Yeah.
Wow, what a powerhouse. I'm in awe of that
You're going
man.
to shoot lasers at a place. You don't live there.
True. Good advice, BT. Good
You don't
advice.
shit where you eat, shoot lasers.
That's
It's super villainy 101, guys.
Yeah.
So play count. Look, we've all seen this episode before, obviously, but just throwing it out there. Does anybody have any memories from when they first watched it as a youngster, or?
I didn't watch this as a youngster. Everyone knows the Channel 10 story of The Simpsons being rerun and run and run and over and over and over until everyone knows each episode
Back to front.
Back to front.
Yep.
I must have missed every single time this episode was on.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So I watched this in my teens, late teens, 17 or 18.
Yeah. I've got a similar story to that for Marge Be Not Proud.
Oh,
I didn't see it for so long, and someone's like, no, this is a rerun, dude. I'm like, are you sure? I've never seen it.
the Bone Storm episode.
Yeah.
Fuck.
That's insane. What if there's a classic episode that we've just
Maybe.
never seen? It just
Possibly.
has never come up.
I mean, we've stolen your Disney Plus details, so we could potentially watch them.
I think for me, the sugar and cream joke might be my most remembered and most quoted Simpsons joke ever.
Yeah.
Just the way it's delivered, and Homer's no.
So it's not little packages.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's just ingrained in my brain from being.
It's one of those things where you just you laugh at the line, and then you laugh at the realization that he just had it in his pocket.
Yeah,
both. And somehow we separated the sugar from the cream.
and there's other stuff. You can hear metal clinking in there. There's other stuff.
That's the spoons.
It's the spoons. It seems to be that. What is the town that they actually moved to?
Cypress Hill.
Cypress Hill. It seems like
Creek.
that town
Creek.
is run
Yeah,
on.
Cypress Hill is a rapper.
He's not insane in the membrane.
Or is he?
I mean, it seems pretty insane, but that, it seems that Cypress Creek is run off of coffee alone. Because when they show their informational video at the beginning, all of the places are turned into cafes or coffee shops, and then there's a little coffee vendor cart as well.
Yeah,
So it's
dumpster turns into a coffee.
That's
So
right.
it's is this what Globex runs on? Is it just a world domination plan to control the means of coffee?
supply?
If you control
Supply?
coffee, I think you would control the world right now.
Yeah,
I think
maybe
Keep
that's
them
it.
addicted. Keep them interested.
My memories of this episode of these are one of the episodes that you could always I know I've watched this dozens upon dozens of times because it's just that the episodes that you just put on and just have on in the background, or you can sit down and invest time and time again. It's quintessential Simpsons, of course.
I watched it twice today.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
good. It's so nice. We did it twice.
I almost missed this episode. My auntie was giving birth to my cousin, and we're like, we have to go, and I'm like, but the Simpsons.
Simpsons.
And I knew on my little 120-minute VCR tape that it'd get to the end of the tape, and I might miss some of the end of the episode. But fortunately, I got back home after my stupid cousin got born, and
Yeah, kids, that's how we used to have to fucking watch things. We would tape things on a VHS and it had a finite amount of memory.
Yeah.
Hey, I remember when we got a VCR, you could program it to start at a certain time.
That was revolutionary. So you
Yeah.
didn't have
Tech.
to record at the time that the thing was playing.
yeah,
And if you wanted to extend it, you'd go on long play.
Wow.
Get even longer, but severely reduced quality.
I remember we had Foxtel, and so the idea was that, because Foxtel is just like movies constantly playing, but then they added the function that it's like you could record that for later, and that was such a fucking revolutionary thing. And I was like bragging about it to my mates. I was like, yeah, I've got all these movies on Foxtel. I can just watch them whenever I like. So,
well, I used to get onto MTV or Channel V or whatever it was when I was young, and I'd like have the VCR, and I'd just be sitting watching the music video shows and just be recording all the ones I'd like, and then for parties I'd stick them on. Oh my god,
that's such a good move.
Rage.
You were that guy. You were the coolest guy at the party. I mean that sincerely.
No,
I
that's
genuinely
pretty
believe
cool.
that.
I'm like giving embarrassed face, but yeah, dude, that's dope.
I think
That's
that would be
fucking
pretty
awesome.
cool now, actually.
Yeah,
like
let's get
very
a party
retro.
and you bring the MTV tapes. Elliot.
wackiness. Was this a particularly wacky episode of The Simpsons?
I feel like all the wackiness is in the background. None of it is mainline.
Scold.
Yeah.
Point blank
They have
range.
scolding. What is it?
Yeah.
Acid.
Yeah, like just pouring acid on
So
people.
people on fire, people get blown up,
Yeah.
Bond just gets shot point blank range. It's a
While
really
having a
violent episode.
meaningful speech.
Homer owns the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
Which again is canon.
Yeah.
The UN debating about wanting to take a chance
I
on
want
whether
to
I
take a
love
chance.
it.
Oh,
You
I
never
want to
take a chance.
chance.
You want to take one.
Fall down on it. So you have 24 hours.
Here's a dumb thing I only noticed for the first time today on the second watch today.
That's what I noticed too.
There's like a shot of Homer and Hank walking, and the background's not moving, and they're walking on treadmills.
Yes.
And they get off the treadmills and then stand on a moving floor.
Yeah.
And I don't
so
know why
good.
it's so funny when I noticed it, but it's really funny.
Yeah.
They're walking on something that's
In
not moving.
Globex, everything moves.
Oh, it's a joke that I've only noticed for the first time because I haven't watched this episode in a decade, if not longer. I finally got the Secretariat joke, and it's fucking
Yeah,
hilarious.
Yeah.
A baseball made out of secretariat.
Yeah, because you were saying, PT, and I think mine's the same story. I didn't know who Secretariat was before BoJack Horseman.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I think as a kid, I thought it was just, is it like an expensive fabric or something?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Very expensive.
Is that the name of a secretary? What is it?
The hammock. There's a whole hammock district.
The hammock riff.
You got the hammock hut, that's on third. You got hammocks are us, that's on third. Put your butt there, that's third. Matter of fact, they're all part of the same area. You know, the hammock district?
Yeah. So this is, space in the episode where the writers left room for Albert Brooks to improvise.
Oh,
because
of course they did.
Fantastic.
Oh my God.
he's great at that.
Fantastic. Yeah, I was just going to say, you can't come up with that shit unless you're like just riffing endlessly.
Well, it's the kind of thing as a writer you'd think a million times over, and it's like, that's not a joke, throw it away.
Yeah.
But all done in performance and improv. Yeah, and Dan Castellaneta was in the room at the time, and he, improved back. And so, just magic.
Oh, so yeah, the reply, the hammock district.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact
Nice.
that he knows where the hammock district is
There's some
rounds
really,
out that joke so well. I could
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
have imagined that
some
was riffed,
really
actually.
nice like reactions from Homer as well. Like I love after the ever seen a guy say goodbye to a shoe, Homer just goes once.
Yeah. Or there's such an underplayed Homer line where I can't remember what name Hank says, but he says, "Oh, do you know so and such?" And then Homer, before he leaves the door, just goes, "Yeah, no."
Mark Milton or something?
Yeah.
I don't know who that is, but
I
yeah.
don't know.
It's just weird seeing underplayed Homer sometimes. It's just now it's just strange seeing it.
Yeah, they don't overdo him in this episode. He's just kicking along, barely
He's just a normal
understanding
guy in
what's
this
happening.
one who's
Yeah.
like got an amazing job and is just stunned at it all. And it's just like, I don't want to screw this up, so I will just play things very quietly
Yeah.
and do
And
my very best.
His middle management job is just to talk to underlings and
Motivate them.
at it.
As middle management, I can tell you that's what you do.
Which would have been Smithers' job. That's what he would
I
have done.
suppose.
Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of wackiness, can't someone walk down the street without being offered a job?
And his delivery on that
The
is so good.
indignant. Oh, so good.
What happened to this country?
I mean, Smithers never said, "Could you try working harder?"
And it works.
Sure thing, boss. Call me Homer. I love. In fact, I didn't even give you my coat.
Oh, puts it
I just
on.
smile.
That smile.
That shit-eating grin of Hank Scorpio is incredible.
But I think that's what I love, because they left room for Albert Brooks to do dialogue, but the scenes are always interesting. There's
Yeah.
always visual gags written into the scenes anyway. It's it is so delicious.
And not overly cold too.
yeah.
We haven't even mentioned the
What?
Bart subplot,
Oh yeah.
Yep.
which has a bunch of good stuff in it.
Oh, yeah.
The kid. What's his? Is it
Warren?
Wendell? Warren?
Warren.
Warren.
Oh god,
Warren.
he scares me.
I start fires.
And just like the progressive, like patting
Whacking.
Bart until he just smacks him.
Pat, smack.
It's really upsetting.
I quite enjoy the kid from Canada.
I'm from Canada, and they think I'm slow.
Yep.
But they got the, they think I'm slow air, the whole Canadian air.
Yeah.
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 Do you know how you spell Canada? C air
Eh?
N A D.
You
eh?
don't need to follow that joke
no.
through.
Well,
Fuck it.
hopefully today we can finish our work in the letter A. Now, everyone take out a safety pencil and a circle of paper.
A safety. You could still get a paper cut on a circle of paper.
Just minimizing risk where you can.
Just not a corner cut, though.
No.
You're not going to put someone's eye out with that piece of paper, Ellen. That's the important part.
You probably could. Kids will find, this is my experience with working with kids, they
Yeah.
will find anything to fling themselves off, stick their fingers in, or put in their mouth.
And you have to encourage it.
No.
Correct.
You are so ridiculous. Yes, you are.
Oh, and Lisa's story as well.
Fucking relatable.
I like that it just starts with what sounds like a joke at the time of wildflowers. We don't have you in Springfield.
Yeah.
But then that's a setup for why she's never had this reaction before.
Yeah.
Because they don't
good
exist.
point.
So it just goes from
Yeah.
a joke to being the central plot. It's so good.
Yeah.
And yeah, the squirrel just, I'm allergic to everything.
Oh, yeah, I wrote down bastard chipmunk.
Nature fights back.
He's such a bastard.
Also,
Hey,
that
man.
chipmunk has amazing comedic timing. There's just like a second, it stares at her, it just slowly grabs it, and yeah, great.
It
Acting
saw
award
it.
to
It
chipmunk.
saw it's like it's in, you know?
Yeah, and also I suppose it's wackiness of Marge's, all of her self-cleaning, self-watering, and a proto-Roomba as well.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
See, Marge's bit I have the most issue with.
Really?
Marge,
Right.
with all this free time, she should make some fucking friends. Or get a hobby.
Yeah.
She has a hobby, drinking wine.
Get some friends round to drink
Yeah.
wine. Has she not seen a
She's not-
sitcom ever?
Yeah.
Cougar Town?
But
I don't
she's
think
not-
she has.
I love that Cougar Town's your way in. Come on, Marge, haven't you seen Cougar
So,
Town?
Come on!
Which
How about
exists
that
in
Cougar
2000.
Town?
You know, I think maybe it'd be nice if she was like, oh, okay, I'll get to know people.
Yeah.
And they're all
Yeah.
like horrible wasps and she didn't like them or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? I think that would be a more interesting story
Yeah.
than I'm a bit bored at home.
Yeah.
That's fair, but also there's no time in this episode.
No, I guess
No.
not.
It
No.
really isn't.
It also makes sense for Marge's character that, like, part of what she prides herself on is running a house
Running a
and
tight
organizing stuff. And so when that's not there anymore, you're kind of like, do.
And
Yeah,
she has
they,
notoriously had trouble making friends.
Yes.
Marge
Yeah, that's
does.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The doctor
Plus-
says you're meant to have a glass and a half, but I just can't drink that much.
She was in a rut.
So cute.
And it was a nice rut.
It's a nice,
nice
rut.
rut.
Yeah.
that
was a
she
nice
dug
rut.
herself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it would have been nice to maybe even see her explore her art as well, and
Yeah.
maybe because she doesn't have the pressure, she's not inspired or something. I guess that's more about what would you change, but we'll get to that in a moment. So let's talk about the heart. You know, we're starting to talk about all the other Simpsons storylines and bringing in the emotional core. How did it resonate with everybody?
Come on, Homer's actually like fulfilled at work and good at his job. But like I said earlier, he has to balance that out for his family. It's a very simple story in the backdrop of world domination.
It's so true. It's how Simpsons worked best in a lot of those times. Is like you are showing the quintessential American nuclear family as they like to see it back in the 90s, and
Pretty
So-
nuclear
yeah,
in this case.
yeah. And it is very much this like question of, do you do what's right for your family, or do you do what's finally right for yourself for once? For Homer, especially as like a protagonist, he's someone that has always kind of just coasted along and maybe felt incompetent at times in his job, and knowing it. And now he's kind of getting rewarded for a change, being able to do
Yeah.
something correctly. But in order to do that, he would lose his family. Like that's the insinuation.
Make
is,
them unhappy,
Stay
yeah.
here. We'll go bowling. And it's heartbreaking. Like it's that final walk. It's like because you know what's going to happen. You know the decision he's
Yeah.
made, and it's
And Homer loves bowling.
Yeah.
He does.
Aw.
Props
made
to
me
Hank Scorpio
sad.
for being like, well, I'm going to miss you, but you need to do what's right for your family.
Yeah. It's a really lovely chat they have, actually, where he's just like, the little things are what makes
Can't
up
argue
life.
with the little
and
things.
Yeah, it's really wonderful because I feel like so often those talks are really hard to have. Hank Scorpio, best boss ever?
It's such a real emotion. Like, I don't know if you've ever had those conversations where you're just like, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. Like, and that's so true. He's like, he's not mad about it, he's not so much upset, he's just like, it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were a good employee, we were getting on really well. There's also like an undercurrent. This is very Homer, obviously it's about Homer, and it, you know, paints Homer as quintessentially a good man, which he is. He's a bit dumb, he can be a bit selfish, but he's a good man, he cares about his family, and that's what one of the things that pins the show together. But it also explores a little bit about him having a silly dream, right? And people laughing at his silly dream. And it is a punchline. It's a punchline, but it still like treats it as like sometimes it's really, you know, it's I want to be a fighter pilot or whatever, and it's embarrassing or something. You know, you have something it's impossible and you don't really want to tell people, but it still means something to you.
And it humanizes him so effectively.
Yeah. And to have Hank recognize that and call back to it, I think is really sweet. It's also fucking hilarious, but it's really sweet. Denver Broncos.
Well, interesting bit of crossover potentially into the real world is we know Homer's apparently a very good manager. He gets the Denver Broncos at the end of this episode. The next year, they won the Super Bowl.
Hey!
Wow.
Was that Homer's doing, perhaps?
It must have been.
Really, in 97 or whatever?
Some, or at least very soon after.
Because I know they won recently, but yeah. Wow.
Well, like it was a year or two after this episode.
They grew strong in the town of Springfield. They drank all their milk.
Well, they had donuts and then the promise of more donuts to come.
This is going back to the wackiness, but it always gets me that when he gets given the Denver Broncos, they just drop them off at his house. He doesn't get taken to the stadium. They're just there.
Like all sports teams.
That's right. They're just delivered in a truck, I suppose.
Well, you can't coop them up, Phil. That would be cruel.
Yeah, that would be cruel. They peck each other.
They're free range.
Yeah, you have to figure out who's the alpha and put blinders on him or something.
Joe.
Come here.
I noticed as well when the Simpsons walk back in the house, the last shot is of a Denver Bronco running across the screen and a football just bonks him in the head.
Yeah.
Sean was actually like, wait for the last one.
Wait. I was like, wait.
Yeah, the next year, 1998 and 1999.
Jeez, wow.
Well, I mean, he still made contact with the ball. That's not a bad thing.
I don't think it counts as a completed pass. Sorry.
No, sorry.
Well, I just don't understand football.
As the only one here, I think that has played American football.
Your back speaks mountains.
I had John Madden on my Mega Drive.
Oh, sorry. I defer to you.
Damn straight.
That's the genesis for our American listeners. But also this bit is also bringing in a sort of long dormant running gag in The Simpsons is Homer's lifelong dreams.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Which is, to eat the world's biggest hoagie, to appear on The Gong Show, to run out on a baseball field during a game.
Does he achieve all those?
Nearly all of them, because it's usually a cutaway, right?
Yeah.
It's like when Frank Grimes is like...
Oh, God.
explaining all the amazing things that he's done, like go to space.
You've never been?
Never been. He does.
Want to see my Grammy?
Literally everything he wants, he gets.
Yeah, but I mean, also he does and we talk about this, he does have to spend most of his time in a crappy job where he's miserable and
He got to go to space. I go to a crappy job.
But, this is a thing where you could say maybe Homer's acting selfish in this episode for taking the job, but, I think he is approaching it in that golden retriever
Oh, yeah, I was going to say. Absolutely. When he runs it, guess what? I got a new job. They'll pay us more money and the health benefits for you, me, and my partner, and we get to move to Cypress Creek. And
yeah, he only considered the good things, and this would be good news.
And I do love the follow-up. You didn't take a new job without consulting us. No, I wouldn't do that. Why not?
This is boring. Let's watch something else. Homer, you're trying to convince us to move.
Oh, yeah, let's watch this.
And he does it has to be with their permission that they decide to go, right? He doesn't he doesn't force them to go.
Yeah. But also, objectively, it's a fucking cool place.
Yeah, it's a good
You
move
see how
for
the
them.
people weren't shoving and pushing each other down? I've never been to a place like that.
Yeah, it's a sweet one for Homer, which I always like. I like nice Homer.
Yeah, and I think it really does hit home at the end, that scene around the dinner table with everybody, looking frazzled and depressed and everything. And
he already knows that he's going to go home, I think. When he goes, because he's sad when he goes to talk to Hank.
Yeah.
And Hank just gives him kind of permission in a way, reflects his thoughts back to him. But you can already tell he's made the difficult decision on his own.
Yeah.
Wow, Hank's a good friend.
Hank
good friend, a good boss.
If he hadn't destroyed a bridge, he'd be like a perfect person.
How come Homer never rang him? Did he ever get the number?
Probably not. No,
I've never had to ring my own. I fucking love that line so much of like, I've never had to ring my own company.
I still have to do that at work.
Yeah,
I still have to look up the number of my place.
Constantly.
Yeah.
Well, especially like you guys must get this, like, you know, we've all done performing stuff. But when people are like, oh, you know, what nights is your show on? I'm like, just look it up on the fucking ticketing website, okay, Mum?
Go into my trailer.
But ultimately, did it feel like an episode of The Simpsons? Are the characters behaving like themselves?
Oh, yeah. Completely new setting and a bunch of crazy shit in the background, but everyone is themselves.
Yeah.
I'd believe that Homer would choose France to destroy with a laser.
Well, no one ever picks Italy.
Yeah.
Which is weird because I'm Italian and I would pick Italy.
It's even like a good use of your side characters, like Otto's performing like himself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Windows.
Smithers singing about working for Monty Burns.
Monty Burns. It's a weird question because like this is one of the episodes. This is my baseline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're asking like, is this episode itself? Yes, it is. Definitely this episode.
It's a Turing
Is the
test.
base of this cake correct? Yes.
Just other characters as well. I love a Pooh's bit of like, I'm not going to buy anything, but I'd like to look through all your magazine, touch all your foodstuffs, and
And now you know how it feels.
But he doesn't do it. He just comes with the
Threatens.
empty threat
Yeah.
and then
He's giving
runs
you the
away.
anxiety that he might do it.
yeah.
I was just like, that was a win for him. He went away from that thinking, you showed him.
And they have a little tour of all the characters as they wave goodbye to
Yeah.
the Simpsons. That's kind of
Oh,
fun.
poor Ned.
Bye.
Like trying to get some of his belongings back. And then
You're going to
Homer-
need those in Cypress Creek?
Oakley,
Don't.
dokily.
And the continuity of the TV tray.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
good point.
Yeah.
And the downstairs bathtub. How did Homer even
Yes.
get that?
Why did he need it?
Yeah, and as well, giving a quick tour of Springfield, and everyone gets to, have their individual bye-bye as well. Like, it does give you a sense that, oh, they're really doing this. They're moving here. Okay.
Yeah, they just uprooted. Oh, Phil, you were talking about, okay, so they've abandoned the house. Does that mean that they just don't pay their mortgage? What happens with that?
Yeah, it seems to be
Yeah.
a solution
What's the
to paying
go?
off their mortgage.
How do we
It's just
wrangle
abandon
this
the house.
for our house?
We just leave.
House meeting, guys. I say we just put a plank over the door that says abandoned.
Yeah, that's right.
And see how that plays out.
Well, before we make too much recorded evidence of that plan, I must ask, yes or no, would you watch this episode again?
I'd
watch
watch
it
it in their
now.
abandoned house.
Phil, you've watched it twice
I
today.
watched
Would
it
you like
twice
to go for a
today.
third?
Let's go watch it again.
Yay!
All right, of course we're going to watch this one again, and we like to think about what playlist would put it in. What are some other Simpsons episodes that would pair nicely with this one?
Well, Homer's lifelong dreams.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
Homer with a fulfilling job with the bowling alley one.
Ah.
And
I'd also-
Spring Shield.
Yeah.
So I'd pair it with him as a bootlegger as well, which is my other favorite episode of The Simpsons.
Oh, yeah.
Also this season, yeah.
The Simpsons temporarily moving to new places, like when they go to the old farm to make tobacco.
Yeah.
Tobacco.
Yes.
Wonderful episode, that one.
Coffee? I don't know. It's just like
Yeah, no,
Episodes that have coffee.
What's the episode where like Bart goes into somewhere and then he's like, okay, you gotta leave though. We're turning into a Starbucks in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And he walks out and there's just every store is a Starbucks.
Or Barney becomes a coffee addict.
I think you could add guests as villains or as bosses in this case.
Yeah.
So your Sideshow Bobs
Yeah.
and Mel as well.
Yep, supervillains.
Cecil.
Cecil, rather.
The Denver Broncos, do they come back again?
Well, and if like American football games, like
Yeah.
Homer becomes
Yeah.
a coach for his
That's true.
football team.
The Atlanta Falcons.
Yep. Daddy-daughter day as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course. Well, yeah, you could do the Albert Brooks playlist and, the ones we mentioned
Oh, yeah,
before.
yeah.
I forgot to mention fucking Brad Goodman in Bart's Inner Child, the motivational speaker.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Do What You Feel festival episode.
Oh, man, that guy's so good.
Oh, that's
as
a
well.
good one.
Oh, of course
Do
he
what
is.
you feel.
Does this guy have like the perfect Simpsons resume? Like,
Yeah.
He might.
It's some bad HD era
I was
episodes,
gonna-
unfortunately. All right, but no episode is perfect. There's room for improvement. We'll start with you, BT. What would you like to change?
Make it a full-length feature film.
Yep.
Like, I know we're going to talk about things that they could have done, especially with Marge, because even though what's there is very funny, it's not a full exploration of her character. But that said, I appreciate that every single second of this episode is packed. So in terms of adding anything, there's no space. So in terms of removing anything, No.
How about you, Ellen?
Well, I'm not a big fan of jeans with a sports coat. I don't know that I would really change. It would be nice for Marge. Maybe like the house is just like against her, or it's not like fully against her, but she doesn't know how to figure out all these self-cleaning things, and it's not like you can do it yourself, so it like becomes so much extra work because she has to figure out how to like program all the stuff, and she can't just do it manually. I wouldn't mind that.
A bit more active
yeah,
for her.
because it's much more frustrating of a problem because you're like, well, hang on, I know how to clean a house. I don't know how to reprogram all of this bullshit, but you can't do it without doing this because it doesn't work any other way. So maybe I'd do something like that because I do like the gag of like everything in the house is like, you know,
especially when she goes to water
self-cleaning.
the garden and it just starts watering itself.
Yeah.
Almost like on a sensor when she gets close. That's when it does it.
Yeah.
Jerks. How about you, Chris? What would you like to change?
I want to get rid of two things, which I didn't particularly enjoy. I didn't actually enjoy the Apu section, and I didn't enjoy the goodbye montage. I felt they padded time.
But it had all the greats, you know, Sailor Guy and
Guy with bone in his hair.
comic book guy.
What would, do you know what you would put in its stead?
Or Hank.
More Scorpio.
More Marge.
Oh, yeah.
In the second, because I think her time is probably the least. I don't know. It's a pretty fucking perfect episode, so I'm really nitpicking here.
No, I get what you're saying, though, because functionally it is just kind of a victory lap for all the characters we've come to love over the years, where it doesn't serve a function and there's like more meaningful ways they could have said
Someone
goodbye.
already said it. It gave a real sense of this actually happening, and then we get the follow-up line of "So long, Stinktown."
Well, so that's what I'm thinking. Like, maybe it needs to be more sincere so that it feels more like it's actually going to happen rather than So Long Stinktown, because I felt like they are going to reset to 0 at the end. Like, season 8 of The Simpsons, maybe an audience would have bought that their Simpsons was changing place forever. I think you could pretty sell an audience on that.
I know people in the 90s were definitely stupider, but I don't think they were that stupid.
I definitely was.
8 seasons in. Oh, it's just going to leave Springfield. No.
Yeah,
way.
well,
No
spin-off.
way.
Yeah.
Twist.
You know?
Young Sheldon.
Hey, Scrubs did it.
No, in a recent episode with One Good Thing, the polls did ask of the episodes that currently exist, what would make a good final episode. This could be a contender.
Yeah.
He owns the Denver Broncos now. They've all decided we need to stay in Springfield. The end.
Wow. That would make Paul Salt very happy, who has his opinions about season 8. Yeah.
I thought you were just going to leave it there. He has his opinions.
Oh, but does that boy have opinions?
And if you want to hear more of opinions, check out his podcast, One Good Thing.
We're on
Seamless.
it sometimes.
How about you, Phil? What would you like to change?
The whole sequence where they try and sell the house. I don't really understand the whole like mortgage workaround thing. Like if you just call your house abandoned, just solves paying off your mortgage.
I don't think it was a solution.
I don't
think-
understand. They're just like, we'll just leave anyway. But then you have like Otto comes in. He's like, oh, I don't think I can afford it. And he doesn't really go anywhere. And you just like, get on with it. Go. We know you're going to go. Just hurry. Just go.
Yeah, just slap up the sign and head off anyway.
Yeah, just pack up and leave or sell the house quickly. I just don't think it adds that much. Like, and the gags aren't really worth it in that section. Like, they're not doing that much work in terms of what the episode's doing in the back half, where it's just relentlessly awesome. So yeah, I just trim that and get us to Cypress Creek a little bit faster.
And how about you, Sean?
I would change Cypress Creek to Cypress Hill.
Sean, have you been taking some hits from the bong?
I love that you say the bong.
He's been doing a pot weed.
I honestly, I wouldn't change anything. I think it is absolutely the sum of its parts, and even the little bits with Otto and the little goodbye tour and Marge's, feeling like she has nothing to do because she's defined herself by being the housewife for better or for worse. Like I think it all adds to it. It's why it is one of, if not my favorite episodes. So I wouldn't change a damn thing.
Yeah, I said before, and I'm actually curious to see how it'll play out with Marge then trying, okay, let me try and do some art, and then not also being able to do that for whatever is missing inside that gets you to be creative. But also, I've always thought, why isn't Lisa's story about how she's doing at school? But I think you brought up a good point with the allergies before, BT. It's just she hasn't had that in Springfield. She's keen to get amongst it. And that she has a horrible reaction. That is her arc. Yeah, she's going to a great school. She's probably doing great. Like, who cares?
That's why we're not following Lisa, because we have the Bart for the school stuff.
Yeah.
And
Lisa knows cursive.
Yeah. She knows hell and damn.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, who wants to answer what were the nouns in the sentence Quentin and Tammy went to the zoo on Sunday?
Do.
Quem and the Sam.
Do you mean
Sunday.
What?
Jammy to the
Went.
Right, so
Went.
you're
Did you
off
say
to-
went?
Went is a person, place, or thing.
Yeah, you're all winners.
you're off to the leg up program, Sean.
Aw.
All right, now it's time for our final notes.
Now it's time for our final notes. Everyone's final notes.
Yay. Sean, what are your final notes?
Oh, Jesus. See, I try not to take notes, especially for the classic episodes, but the ones I've got are really just particular lines that I liked and little thoughts I had. I remember you asked about what I remember from the first time that I watched this. I remember being incredibly distressed by Lisa's scene. Just her slow descent into just
Allergy
nasal
time.
chaos
Yep.
is what really
The
made
red
me feel...
stuff on her fingers.
It just got me so
and-
anxious,
Yeah.
and I felt so bad for her.
Probably hives.
Just the before picture in like a Clarentine advertisement.
She can't even taste Mum's delicious boiled celery.
That was my next note, that I had such a visceral reaction to that dinner. That sounds awful.
It's white as well on her plate when she's swirling it. Marge boiled all the color out of the celery.
It looks like
God.
it's dead. Like it
is.
was an animal and then it died. As soon as Hank Scorpio says, Homer, I'm just going to be back 1 second. And Homer delivers the line fine, is like, well, fine if you have to. Fine.
He's in his boss's absolutely huge office.
I like that Homer boasts that his division is doing better than the Weather Machine and
Yeah.
Germ Warfare.
Germ
Yes.
warfare.
He almost realizes what he's doing.
And I'll skip all my other notes and just say that I, for the first time ever at Phil's instruction, actually listened to the lyrics of the outro.
Yes.
Just fucking phenomenal.
It's great. It's so
German beer. Hell yeah.
Scorpio.
And like that, his two evil
Obsessions.
are, what is it? Trying to take over the world and the health of his employees.
Yeah.
Twin obsessions.
In a very Goldfinger Shirley Bassey style.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'll leave my notes there.
Beware of his generous pensions.
Yeah, say what you want. He's taking care of his employees. Like,
Yeah.
He loves
Is he that
German
tyrannical?
beer.
I'd work for him.
I'd work for him, hands down. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
that casual Friday of German beer, hot dogs, and burgers. Fuck yeah.
He also
good.
just seems very approachable. Maybe too
Yeah.
approachable.
Yeah.
He's just like, I've got a problem. He's like, can you give me a sec? And it's like the worst he does. His facility is under attack by the military, and he's like, can you give
But
me
he
a sec?
still hears him out.
Still, yeah.
He goes the
Well,
extra mile.
And if you could kill anyone on your way out, it'd be a big help.
Yeah, that was one of my final notes.
It's not even order. It's just a suggestion.
If you could.
Yeah, it would help me a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Chris? Any other notes?
Bart's lawyer is here.
Yeah.
Oh,
At the
yeah.
opening.
He's like one of the first people they say goodbye to as well.
Yeah. A Tale of One City, which is the VHS name.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really liked the gentrification. We talked about that earlier about all the coffee shops springing up. I
and
really
the-
enjoyed that.
The homeless man turning into a post box.
Very,
Yep.
very real life.
Yeah.
so
Redwoods
terrible.
are big enough for an entire day at Disney World
Yeah.
while
Yeah.
cleaning up the vomit.
Ooh.
We don't have bums, but if we did, they wouldn't rush. They'd be able to go at their own pace. The Swing-O-Matic or
God.
Swing-O-Matic.
Swing-a-majig.
Swing-a-majig.
Swing-a-majig, yeah. He's desperately
I
trying to turn it off.
really enjoyed that. Yes, sir, I will notice this if
Yeah.
when Homer
Yes, sir.
Scorpio's introducing.
We're so relaxed. Yes, sir. I have noticed.
Yeah. They'll also fill in for any other body part of you, Homer's underlings.
Use your imagination, joke. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go home and fuck my wife.
I think I was just envious of two things. I want to drink wine like Marge. I just want to spend all day just drinking wine. That sounds perfect.
Yeah.
A single glass.
I want her house. Fuck.
I want the whole bottle
yeah.
and the house. And
Yep.
also, if I can't have a house like that, I want to squat in a house like Otto because that does seem nice.
Windows. It's got
Windows,
windows,
right?
Chris.
How about you, Ellen? Any other notes?
Hank Scorpio on the phone. Somebody ate part of my lunch.
Yeah, sounds really serious. How much?
How much? And how much? It's just a very funny line, and I laughed so hard at that. That's worth calling the boss, and that's worth him rushing out.
Who the fuck is eating the boss's lunch?
I know.
But do you know what I mean?
bold
Like
move.
it's a very relaxed environment.
It was Mr.
Clearly. That's why
That's
he
what
got
gave
a
him
laser.
away, yeah.
Yeah, that's what gave him a laser to the crotch.
How about you, Phil? Any other notes?
There's not a lot left of this episode. We've gone over it a fine-tooth comb. On the cool teacher side of things, there's a, hey kids, let's do it to it. Grammar, that is.
Oh God! Fuck that teacher.
Nah, that teacher's a hero.
And the whole, like, there's a clone of Millhouse who, like, wants part to boss him around.
And the guy who thinks that the sound will play well, the underarm.
Yeah. And he's got, like, a tie-dye shirt on. Like,
Clearly the cool kid.
I thought about Cypress Creek Millhouse as well, and as we saw in Lemon of Troy, there's also a Shelbyville Millhouse.
there's one in every town.
There's one in Adelaide. I just haven't found him yet.
And is it one of those things, if you don't know a Millhouse in your town, are you the Millhouse?
Oh, no.
Millhouse is a universal constant.
Oh God, who's our Millhouse?
Every podcast has one.
Oh, tag yourself.
I do think the chipmunk and the owl joke for me is like that visual gag that really sums up the nice, simple humor of this episode. You're just like, here's one thing, here's another, here's a little unexpected finish.
It's
to
a
it.
rule of
Yeah.
three, right?
Yeah, it's a brilliant rule of three. It's over very quickly, and it's fucking funny.
Yeah.
It
And just
reminds
Lisa's
me-
just la 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 la.
I also like the couch gag for a similar reason. It's very simple. He'll parachute in, and Homer just goes, bam, and just lands on the floor, and it's over. It's not like 20 seconds.
Oh God!
Yeah.
It's not like
It's not like a Marvel intro of like fucking a minute.
And you know that they've done the Marvel intro surely in the past couple of years too.
Yep, they had Thanos do the snap and everything.
Of course they did.
God damn.
Of course.
How about
And
you,
it's-
BT? Any other notes?
Of course.
Oh, sorry, did you have another one there,
I was
Phil?
just
Sorry?
going to say, it's all for me. It just all comes down to that pace. It just whips through this episode.
Oh, the bad dad
my
pace.
God!
Yeah, that couch gag is all this episode really had time for.
Yeah,
Sorry, BT?
Yes, of course. Even though we have all these people saying notes, I have more. Haha. It seems to be the most controversial part of this episode, the whole abandonment of the house. But I do enjoy how Marge and Homer come to the same conclusion at the exact same moment of, hey, smash cut to abandoned. Like when Bart can't read cursive and he just gives a little really sad arm fart. it's a great little moment.
Served me well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when they're playing musical chairs and they're all just, I like me, I like, and again, it's not called two, but there are too many chairs.
Yeah.
so many extra chairs.
Just in case, like not just one extra, or not even enough for everybody. There's like twice of them.
Yeah.
But they're all thrilled with it as well. Yay, you're all winners. And they're like looking at each other and going, yay, good for us. Like, it's a
Yeah.
very positive environment.
It's the future that the Democrats want.
Maybe I won't set a fire now.
Ellen.
What?
Warren.
Oh, Warren.
no,
Yeah, it was a joke because you were saying we should start a fire.
I
and
got
I'm
it
just
in your
going,
inflection.
yeah, it didn't land, but whatever.
Sorry.
Here, let me do a sad fart sound now.
You know what
He
to do
tried,
now,
everybody.
Ralph.
Oh God.
Burn the house down. Burn them all.
Was that all your notes?
That is all my notes.
And yeah, I only had a couple. Yeah, the
Oh, wait, that and great work, Homer. When you get home, there'll be a new level in your house.
he says, okay, this is a joke that confused me. He says there'll be another story on your
Yeah.
house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now,
Yes.
is this a double meaning that the joke is that then they cut and Homer's just telling a story at his dinner table? That's what was that?
No.
No.
I don't think so.
I think
I
you're reading
can't
too much
prove
into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we're already over time, so we don't like have time to go into the other debate of the episode, which is
I know.
had Homer seen someone else throw a shoe before Scorpio, or was that the one time? But
Again,
Yeah.
he had seen someone else. That's the way language works.
yeah. But the tall stand-up vacuum that's a Roomba, this kind of reminded me how in Futurama, advanced technology, but they all still have big back TVs, especially in the early seasons.
Yeah.
And
Um,
cassettes
just
and
a fun-
stuff. They use
Yeah.
floppy disks.
Yeah. I like it.
Old new tech.
Yeah, and yeah, actually, that was all my notes. It's time to rank this thing. Sean, please, go first, my friend.
Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, well, I was starting at a gold, and then as soon as it started with that rollicking, cracking pace, I bumped it straight up to that sweet, sweet bronze. No, cubic zirconia. It's one of the most memorable episodes of The Simpsons for me. It holds a very lovely, warm place in my heart. It's one that I was sitting there struggling not to just quote the entire episode out loud, and I still did it a couple of times because I'm not a fucking robot. I love it. I think it's a perfect encapsulation of the family. It's a nice grounded way of taking them outside of just Springfield, and it's not too zany, but it still is a nightmare scenario for all of them, and it's great. It's everything I want in Simpsons, so I think it's an episode that I would show to you if you've never seen The Simpsons before.
Wonderful. BT?
Yeah, again, I came in like, okay, I don't want to let the love and the nostalgia goggles blind me on this one. And at the beginning, I was like, okay, it's good, but how good? But yeah, once we hit full pace and once we kind of got the whole joke is taking a very small family story and putting it in this ridiculous situation, that's when I was like, okay, yeah, cubic this one up for me, please.
All right, Phil.
I think it's really just down to how many facets the cubic zirconia has. I think for me, it was always going to be a cubic zirconia. I remember this episode very well. I remember it being amazing. As I've said before, it's like joint with the Beer Baron episode as my absolute favorite episodes of The Simpsons. So it's not only cubic zirconia, but it is lovingly cut so that
polished.
and polished.
Yes.
And it twinkles in the light around a wealthy woman's neck.
Interesting.
Cool crystal.
Chris?
This one has always been kind of, when someone mentioned that we were doing this one, I was a bit nervous because I didn't have fond memories of it as much as everyone else does. Even like in the Simpsons meme stuff, like I'm fairly active on a couple of Facebook pages in Simpsons meme stuff. Every time I see that sort of thing or like memes from this episode, I'm like, nah, not a fan. I guess I have to be a fan now. I have to be a fan of all the Scorpio memes. It's the little things that make this episode great. That's not a direct reference, but, you know.
Still true.
Still true. It's the Bart sadly doing an arm fart while everyone stares at him. It's the moving from walking on a treadmill to going on a what is it? Travelator. You know, it's that sort of stuff. It's the small, really nice attention to detail that really lifts this episode. So it's a cubic.
Ellen?
Yes, I am the aforementioned wealthy woman that wears this cubic zirconia around their swan-like neck. I love this episode. I love any kind of episode of The Simpsons where it feels like everyone's just had a ball writing it. Every joke is silly, but it has a joyousness to it. It doesn't mean it's meaningless. And we have all the characters acting like themselves, facing problems that, you know, actually are detrimental to what they believe in or what they want. And so it's just very nice. It's very rounded and it's so much fun. So yeah, I'll wear this like a badge of pride.
And yeah, of course, I'm going cubic as well. This is one of the most important words that define the cubic zirconia ranking is essential. Is this essential to the Simpsons experience? And if you were putting together a playlist of the essential episodes, does this deserve to go on it? And absolute fuck yeah. And the phrase victory lap, I think you said it, PT. That's really sticking with me in this one as well because, you know, and we do see it on the spreadsheet after season 8 and even during season 8, the essential episodes get a bit less and less. And I think, yeah, this is an absolute final high point for the series that is just magical in all the reasons that was previously stated. So, unanimous cubic zirconia. Woo! We are giving this episode the Simpsons Index Outstanding Achievement in the Field of Excellence.
Oh, nice.
This will be the 5th episode from season 8 to be called a unanimous cubic zirconia.
Wow.
It will be joining Homer's Enemy, the Frank Grimes episode. The Old Man and the Lisa, the Little Lisa Animal Slurry with Mr. Burns.
Oh, hell yeah.
Brother from a Series, we mentioned that before. That's the Cecil and Sideshow Bob episode.
Yes,
fantastic.
Great.
And Hurricane Nettie, which is the Ned and Hurricane episode.
Oh, calm down, dilly, 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 dilly.
Oh.
Is Beer Baron only a gold?
Beer Baron's a dull cubic, and
Ooh.
Or a dull cubic? Okay.
yeah, me and BT cubicked, and then our other panelist, who sounds be no Danny, he gave that a gold, and he has a legitimate complaint that the first act there's not a lot to it.
Okay.
That's
Or
true.
starting out
I
with
always do forget the first act.
Yeah, and there's some
Yeah.
problematic elements with the St. Patrick's Day parade, and so
Okay. I probably haven't watched it in a while, so
Yeah.
yeah, I get his reasoning, but yeah, I still
We all have
especially
our
Rex.
pet episodes, don't we?
Yeah.
That's it. Guys, thank you so much for doing this. This was an absolute wonderful treat.
Thank
Thank you for giving
Thanks
us
for
an
inviting us again.
excellent episode to end on.
No, we absolutely love working with you guys all the time, and thank you so much for being on so many Simpsons Index over the years as well, and having us on your shows and whatever. Yeah, this is a lovely little thing we've got going here.
Well, this is probably, I guess, because you're coming to a close soonish. This will probably be the last time we ever guest on the Simpsons Index.
Possibly. We'll
Yeah.
we'll see what the future holds, and all, of course.
Whoa.
The end is not the end. Because we run out of classic and teens era episodes at some point later in the year. Then we'll change format to being 2 new episodes.
Oh God, of course.
So
it's
if you
still
only
going.
want to review bad episodes, you're more than welcome to come back.
It's a
So
dog.
let's call this goodbye. Let's say it's goodbye for now.
But aren't you also doing amazing audio dramas?
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
gee, Phil, that sounds like a plug.
We'll get to that, but how about you guys plug your stuff?
Absolutely. So we are Baby Beard. We're the collective of Adelaide artists and actors and directors and all the like, and we run a few podcasts, chief of which is Roll to Cast, ROLE, which is our tabletop role-playing podcast, where we play a different game every season with original stories, original music by Paul Goodman of One Good Thing. We have done Cyberpunk 2020, Cyberpunk Red, Vampire the Masquerade. We are currently in our Pulp Cthulhu campaign, and we have Kids on Bikes along the way.
Nice.
Also, we are just coming up on the end of Shut Up and Take My podcast, our Futurama podcast that goes episode through episode in a bloody glorious gauntlet battle for your entertainment, which will be concluding by the end of March. And we will be done, dusted, forever, fucking bye. And
Just in time for Futurama to hit the full series on Disney+.
Oh, shit.
I saw that recently. I was like, what a kick in the teeth for
right?
us.
Yeah, I bought those DVDs for nothing.
Damn the mouse.
We also have a YouTube channel where we do daily uploads of Let's Plays in different formats, genres, varieties, and so we're always uploading, we're always playing, and we have a Patreon if you'd like to support what we do and give us some sweet, sweet money.
I believe Elliot has guested on one of our Patreon podcasts.
Yes, he
A
has.
delightful little number called Lunch Dates with Loki. It was very fun, and you nearly stumped me, Elliot, and I've never forgiven you. Not quite forgiven you yet. But I will.
Yes. I talked about my crush on a certain purple-haired short lady. I'll let you guys at home think of who that could be.
Is it Grape Queen?
From what?
I don't know.
Chris?
From your imagination. I love that show.
Is it Chris's
Chris's
original
imagination.
character, Grape Queen?
She is now.
Oh, please draw that.
Yeah, the self-insert character into Adventure Time.
Follow us on Twitter to find the picture of Grape Queen.
And BT, what are we up to?
Oh my, we are up to so many things. If you want to check out more reviews of TV shows, you can listen to Thrones of Game. We're the hardest to find Game of Thrones podcast because we did not think about that name when we first made it. But no, this is a show where I, the person who has already watched all of Game of Thrones, takes Elliot, a person who had never seen a single episode, through the series in reverse order. So we started at the end. We are now up to season 2, so we've nearly closed out that one as well.
Yeah.
And our other podcast is, of course, Pulp Fury Radio. This is our fiction podcast. It's an anthology series where we have a completely new story with new characters and a new genre every single episode. So if you want some mystery, some fantasy, some horror, there's a little bit of something for everybody. And you might hear some familiar voices.
Whoa. And if you're listening to
no.
the Simpsons Index and you haven't listened to Pulp Fury Radio before, what the hell is wrong
You
with
fool!
you? It's some of the best audio drama you will hear on the gosh darn interwebs, friends.
And we're not just saying that because we're in it sometimes.
It's so
well
good.
I'm
I
hoping
think
for
so
I'm hoping
good.
for a bigger part next season.
I'm hoping to get, I want to get my Scottish accent into it. It was left on the cotton room floor last time, and I don't know why.
Either
Oh,
that,
that's right. I remember that.
either that, or I want to be a waitress in everything you do ever.
Well, Well, have fun editing this down to a usable link.
Yeah, absolutely. No, this is going to be a long one. But yeah, also we've got a Patreon as well, and we've got a premium Patreon series called Except When He's Not, where BT's reviewing all the episodes that he wasn't there for when we reviewed them on the Simpsons Index.
Yeah, so if you want to hear my opinions and my opinions alone, then tune in to our Patreon exclusive.
Yeah, we're actually just about to go record an episode based on the Simpsons episode titled Orange is the New Yellow.
Oh, that's a bad title. I can't wait. That's fuck awful.
But anyway, once again, thank you, Baby Bearders. We absolutely love you. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you. We love you.
Oh, thank you, Chris.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Phil.
No worries. You're welcome.
Thank you, Helen.
Merci.
And PT, as always, thank you.
I don't bring you love. I bring you fear and pestilence and
Time for a booster. And that's it from me, Elliot J. O'Neill, your host, and that is all the mustard in the house.
Woo!
On your way out, if you want to kill somebody, it'll really help them.
Thank you for listening to the Simpsons Index podcast, which is also an online spreadsheet available at thesimpsonsindex.com. You can chat to us online at facebook.com/thesimpsonsindex or at simpsonsindex on Twitter or Instagram. Now, there's no bonus scenes for this episode, so we'll catch you next week.